Immortals have invaded my realm, and my children rebel against me. Dark days these are. But my strength shall bring resolution, and my lightning, illumination! Zeus!
Bellona.
Anubis!
Scylla.
Kukulkan.
Surtur!
How does my fans, and welcome back to the NASCCC. We're here on our second match of the day. It's J-Mac and Shrelly here. We're going to talk to you about StarForge Systems and some of the best PCs in the universe. You go to starforgesystems.com, you can pick up the brand new SMITE-themed PC. Now, whether you're wanting to buy a pre-built PC or if you're looking for a pretty swanky case in order to kind of build your own there, you can do both of those. You go to starforgesystems.com/product/smite. You can pick up either a fully customized, already pre-built PC, or you can get the case, build your own, and make it look as cool as you want it to be. And as soon as you get it going, ready to play some Smite 2. So thank you so much for StarForge Systems for coming out with a really cool and really sick PC. As mentioned, it's J-Mac and Shrelly here for match number 2, the bronze match, aka the elimination game as well. Because you've already figured out what our first 2 teams are for the North American region going to our LAN. And naturally, with this one, we'll just figure out who the third and final one will be to join their brethren.
Yeah, and so you and Miff were talking about how it's the grand finals, the match that you guys just watched. But I consider this one the grand finals. Sure, it's not for seeding, but it's who goes home and who gets to go to LAN, right? There's a lot more on the line here.
Yeah.
Seeding is important, but this is a lot more detrimental if you lose. SK Peso and Twig, they got to leave it all on the field here.
And for that grand finals match that we had just prior, that was the number 1 and 2 seed in Group B from the group stages. Rudy number 1, Caustic number 2 from there. Now we're having another group matchup for Group A this time, whereas the number 1 SK Peso now against the number 2 CaptainTwig. Last time these two squared off, I believe it was a full 3-game set between SK Peso and CaptainTwig all the way back in the final week of the group stage, and now culminating to one final best of 3. This one not to see who gets the number 1 seed of the group. This one is to see who gets to go to LAN. So a lot online for both these two teams. Get to come out here to the event, play for the charity they're choosing, and all the additional stuff that comes along with that one. Getting to get the behind the scenes of Smite 2, getting to get a tour of the TitanForge Studios as well. A lot riding on this one set here, and it's going to take a lot for both these two teams to really bounce back and find their big wins today, Trelly.
You forgot one thing.
What else did I forget?
Additional loot and goodies.
How could I forget about the additional
we've
loot and goodies?
We've been doing this for a minute now, J-Mac. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that you forgot to mention the additional loot and goodies. And I believe, we got the format right here for you.
Yep. So we started things off yesterday with semifinals. It is a single elimination, at the very least for these ones. Best of 3s all yesterday between SK Peso and Caustic. Caustic found the win. Rudy versus CaptainTwig. Rudy found that win just yesterday. And then starting out today, we had our grand finals matchup between the winners. That was a seeding match, so he's going to be the number 1 seed for North America. That ended up being Rudy after a 2-1 victory. And now we're in the bronze match. Loser of yesterday's matchups now facing to see which is going to be the third and final team going to the LAN event. Because we had 4 teams come in, but only 3 of them get to go to LAN to join iDavy, who has already qualified there from last weekend in the EMEA region. And I believe the way that things work out, if I remember correctly for my seeding, is that the winner of this match will end up facing off against Rudy for the semifinals at the LAN itself. So another tall task to be had. So if we see CaptainTwig win, maybe get a bit of a rematch from their matchups yesterday when we get to the LAN stage. And at least for SK Peso, this will be the first time that he's faced off against Rudy. And then I'm saying this not remembering exactly what the entire bracket of the qualifying stage looked like, so I'm going to just take the assumption and say that they probably haven't faced off against each other at some point before, but to be determined on that. We do have the prizing as well. As mentioned, get to come out to our headquarters here in Alpharetta, Georgia at the Esports HQ and play against each other in a LAN setting. Behind the scenes tour of the TitanForge Studios. I already mentioned the donation based off how they seed at the event to the charity of their choosing, access to SMITE 2 development, and the all-important additional loot and goodies as well.
Thank you so much for getting to that time, J-Mac.
Look, it's because it wasn't on the screen in front of me. I had just forgotten.
It's always at the forefront of my mind. That's why I was able to, hone in on it there for you. But yeah, it still is very important, as I said. And this is what I'm talking about where, again, this isn't the grand finals. This is the bronze match. But the teams that we just watched, they already had their ticket to LAN stamped and ready, right? These guys are still fighting for it. So I think a lot more on the line in that regard. And we should see some more intense matches, some more cool strategies, and maybe some things that we haven't seen so far, because remember, with this 9.5 revert, a lot of new gods have been coming to the forefront of the meta. Picks and bans have been changed a bit, so we'll have to see if SK Peso and Twig, if they've gotten together with their squad, maybe they've prepared some strats for this.
Yeah, we did get to see a few of the gods who were kind of 100% pick banned yesterday, or I should say 100% banned yesterday. Things like the Chang'e, the E-Shell, Medusa, all made it through in our last set. Couple of them made it onto the same team, and was a little disgusting to have to sit back and watch a Chang'e Medusa just completely farming enemy team. But maybe there's a reason why some of those picks have been banned away. So we'll have to see, once we kind of get ready to jump into the picking match for this one, what the adaptation is for both SK Peso and for CaptainTwig from their matchups, what changes they made from yesterday's matchups into today. Now getting to watch a little bit of each other's matches, maybe a bit of the VOD review out there. But we're ready to go into picks and bans for game number 1 between SK Peso and CaptainTwig. Elimination on the line, but it all starts here in game number 1. And all we're going to see really what the picks and bans looks like. Last match was, because it was seeding, maybe a little bit sillier in some of the drafts come during that set, but I imagine this one is going to be a lot more nose to the grindstone for these two teams.
Something I noticed about Team CaptainTwig, this may be a Twig exclusive, this may be something the whole team agrees on, is they value this Amaterasu very highly. Like, if it's available, they're picking it. If they are not first pick, they're banning it away. Maybe that's changed since yesterday, but it was just a bit of a shock, because it seems like only Team CaptainTwig in this tournament is holding that pick at such a high standard. Osiris is still very strong. There's some physical assassins you can play in the solo lane, but Ama in particular, I feel, doesn't exude that much pressure. But Team SK Peso, they picked up on it as well, and they're going to ban it away, and they're in first pick slot. So they don't want to pick it, and they don't want Twig to get his hands on it. What does Twig 2 go in the secondary? I talked about yesterday with Myth. I was like, it's usually Wukong. If he's not getting the Ama, he's going towards that Wukong. It was actually Mulan yesterday, so we'll see if that's something that Twig wants to go to. But as you said, Chang'e, Medusa, still top of the tier list for a good reason. They can just one-shot you, and that's no fun.
Now, I wonder if we see the E-Shell ban from one of these two teams. That's kind of been the other 100% pick ban god that we've been seeing over the course of this weekend. More than likely it'd be CaptainTwig's team that want to try and ban that one away. Or if SK Peso's team doesn't want to play it, and you definitely don't want to give it away, you can ban that. Instead, it will be Terra for the third and final pick for Team SK Peso. So what does CaptainTwig ban away with his squad in this final selection? E-Shell's kind of the immediate one that pops to mind, but there's a whole lot of other picks you can go. If you want to maybe target some of SK Peso's drafts, you can maybe go for his Fafnir if you want to take something uncomfortable away from him away. Oh, wow, it actually will be the Fafnir. I was just kind of saying it just to throw a ban out there, but they went for it on CaptainTwig's team.
Yeah, I mean, E-Shell is certainly something that could be top picked here from Team SK Peso, but I don't know, man. I'm not sold on it. Like, the Chang'e makes a lot of sense to me. You're getting 100 to 0 off Waxing Moon. That's a lot of CC. But E-Shell's ult is not that great. It's her base kit. That's what's one-shotting you. The ult is just to keep your team sustained. It still does great damage, but it's not, like a Waxing Moon. So I can see why Team CaptainTwig weighted those differently. This might come back to bite them. The E-Shell might just hard carry. It certainly has the possibility to. We've seen, you and Myth just saw exactly how much damage E-Shell can dish out, especially with a lead. So we'll keep our eyes in the mid lane. I just understand why that was the lesser of two evils, because Fafnir, sure, can run a game, just, objective control. Double ADC comps are still very prevalent, so trying to worry about fire giants and things like that may still be on the forefront of Team CaptainTwig's mind, and certainly something Team SK Peso likes to go to.
So what does CaptainTwig like to go for here?
Obviously Ratatosker.
It's the #1 pick. You think CaptainTwig? Ratatosker is going to pop in, whether that be for the jungle, for the solo lane, probably a little bit more towards the jungle we've been seeing.
No, that's got to be jungle.
A bit more often here, at least for the Ratatosker in recent times. Does a lot of good damage in the early game, has that semi-global pressure as well. So we'll have to see what goes along with the Ratatosker. What's even still really up that would be such a high priority? If you want to go for maybe duo lane, Charybdis has kind of been one of the #1 hunters to go towards. Maybe surprised we didn't see a snap block that direction from CaptainTwig's team. Instead, it will be Osiris to go along with the Rat.
I like this because Twig, again, yesterday had a very rough game on Mulan, ended up coming back, but the early game is ever so important from the solo lane. So getting Twig on something that he feels confident on and doesn't lose lane super hard is why, number one, I knew that Rat was never going to solo because Rat doesn't clear until like level 8. And Osiris is just one of those guys. He does not get out bullied, doesn't get out traded. He just shows up to lane ready to cook. Kukulkan, though, he's one of those guys that can scrap back, right? Level 2 is even scarier for Kukulkan if you can get that rage transformation. And usually if you clear the Harpies and the blue buff correctly, you're raging at level 1 in this meta, so something to watch out for.
I almost forgot about the Kukulkan just because it's really only Super Deathfang who is putting a lot of priority towards it, at least on the side of SK Peso. So now him getting to go back to a pick like that, got to keep eyes out for CaptainTwig on that solo lane because that's where SDF has been able to get a lot of pressure in that lane. Thoth, the final selection for Team CaptainTwig before we jump into the second wave of bans. Now having both mid laners on there. Gotta wonder maybe what the bans are going to be this time. See some assassins already trying to target out the jungle a little bit. Daji banned away by CaptainTwig. SK Peso takes on her off the table, already having their hunter in Chiron. I wonder if we'll see a Charybdis follow-up there. Just because of how safe that god is, just the CC immunity given to her now on that Whirlpool form makes it almost impossible to lock this god down anymore.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate it. I think Team CaptainTwig is banning gods that own Thoth, which is very smart. If Thoth is left to free cast, you're having freedom there. So Daji, Susanoo, Fenrir, Robin, those type of picks need to be removed. In this case, Susanoo, Daji are the top 2. You only get 2 options, so I think those are smart bans, just to try and keep this Thoth safe and let the damage get done. But you were right, Charybdis is going to be the pickup there for Team SK Peso, or the ban rather. Just too much safety. That ult has been ridiculous as well. I've seen more resets with this Charybdis ult than I've ever seen in my lifetime because of that change. Just a little bit of speed on the clamp, and you can get the the kills and just start chaining them together, and that's not something that anyone wants to deal with. So a smart call there. Team CaptainTwig, though, they have to get, assumably, a support and an ADC. Do you want to just sit back? No, I was going to say, do you want to counterpick the support? Don't have a chance. Just grab the Sobek, right? Easy confirmation on some CC. Good plucks. It's not like Chiron can cleanse himself too easily, so I like that matchup.
Now goes over to Team SK Peso. Will be Raven going to the hands of Sun Prodigy out of the jungle. And a Bacchus hover for SK Peso. Now, we haven't really seen a whole lot of Bacchus as of recent. A lot of great CC, tons of damage afforded to him as well. Would be a great pick if you just want to have an all-in style of composition, maybe a little bit of bailout from the heels of Ishel and from Chiron. And it will be that Bacchus. So a Chiron-Bacchus dual lane. Not something we've seen for quite some time, Trelly.
Yeah, I mean, Bacchus has ridiculous pressure. Chiron, not so much. So I guess trying to balance that was the idea here. I do like Bacchus in this meta. And when you're in a meta where carries aren't building much damage and they're getting owned early on, Bacchus can just half health you if you're in the wrong position. So definitely not a bad look. It's just you don't really do Fire Giant too quickly. With that Fafnir ban, it did stop a lot of what Team SK Peso wants to get done. I'm definitely leaning more towards Team CaptainTwig here, especially if they can lock in some late game. The Thoth can really cover it, but depending on the ADC they go for, some late game hard carry potential maybe, or just something that can scrap with Chiron, there is still some options. The Uller, he can certainly scrap with Chiron, not that late game hard carry in the way of auto attacks, but certainly can burst you down. Again, with less HP, gods like Uller have gotten a lot more prevalent. That poke from Hail of Arrows can be super annoying.
Yeah, if you can land that Axe Toss combo as well, just even by yourself, if it's a 1v1, you can get the full, Axe switch over, double bow damage combo out there. Can nearly 100 to 0, whatever lane opponent you're going up against there. But having some decent setup for the Sobek as well to be able to do so, pluck them back, then you can easy follow-up engage after that one. Similar thing for the Thoth, freehanding those Thoth ultimates is not the hardest thing to do, but not the easiest sometimes. So having a guarantee no of my Sobek is tossing them right here towards me, let that final judgment fly through, get some real damage out there. So kind of looking at the way that the draft is kind of composing here, Charlie, feels like CaptainTwig are maybe scaling a bit more towards trying to get to that late game style of play.
I mean, yeah, Osiris and Rat are going to be able to just come out of the gate swinging. It's not as if Robin and Kukulkan can't fight back, but I would like to see Elder, lean towards that solo lane a bit, try and play through CaptainTwig, because Osiris can definitely get the better of Kukulkan, especially with a little bit of help, right? If you just wait until level 2, head to solo lane, go for a nice Blink Acorn Blast, you're usually getting a first blood there. And then once Osiris gets ahead, You don't care about E-Shell. You don't care about healing. You just run them down, right? Get an early Frostbound, that sort of thing. So I think that option is certainly there. The Robin is going to take a little bit longer to get online. It's not my favorite pick early on. You have so much CC with like the slow and the root, but you need a lot of damage follow-up. Of course, the 2v2 is going to be sick. Thoth, E-Shell, range is nice, but I think the E-Shell burst is just so much better. So we'll be paying attention to that early game matchup. But if the matchups that we've seen so far have meant anything, we're going to see a lot of kills flying pre-5 minutes. And that's what I love to see. That's the best Smite meta there is, when it's just flying off the rails before the game's even begun.
Yeah, I think our last 3 games from our set just earlier today have been averaging like 1.5 to 2 kills a minute just about every single game. I think game 3 was our quote-unquote slowest game, where we were sitting at like 10 kills at 10 minutes. But that's even still much faster pace than we've even seen in weeks prior, when we were doing the group stages, when we were doing the qualifier stages. We'd get games that were going maybe 10 kills for 35, 40 minutes. Now we're getting that on average in the first 8 to 10 minutes of the game. It's really sped up the momentum, gets the kills out there, keeps the excitement levels out. And I think that's what a lot of people are enjoying seeing again, is just games where people load in and kills are just flying across the map, whether it be in dual lane, mid lane, solo. Junglers are getting so active now. This 9-5 revert that has kind of popped itself back in has really just kind of kicked open the doors wide open for anything to happen.
More blood. That's what we want. We are simple creatures, and we just
more
want
blood
to
for
see
the blood god.
More violence. I think adding a global into the mix, we saw Elder have mixed success yesterday, but when he was getting active, it was on the rat. So that is a great pick to go back to. Maybe something Team SK Peso takes notice of this game, but because it's available now, think about the CC. You already talked about the setup. You got Soulback Pluck, you got Osiris, you got Rat. Thoth should have a free time, at least getting poke. The rest of the ultimates can just fly out. It's not like E-Shell has any juke abilities, right? You just get some movement speed and try and zoom back and forth, but those ults should be connecting.
Well, it is an elimination set. It all starts here in game number 1 between Team SK Peso and Team CaptainTwig. You ready to jump in to game number 1 between these two and see who's going to put their best foot forward in game number 1? It's J-Mac, Trelly, and Doug here to bring you the action. A few Vibrant Shards already hovered there by Doug. A shard that we haven't really seen a whole lot of, Trelly, ever since the Vibrant Shard kind of got pulled away from the original recipe and into the shard form. This one hasn't really been the kind of the go-to popular pick, but starting to see it a little bit more now.
Yeah, Doug's been pointing it out whenever it does get picked up. If you want to get active early, it would definitely be the way to do so. And remember, with less HP available, Vibrant Shard just gets a buff in that regard. I do think that our mid 2v2 is probably going to be where the most action flies. It's not as if Sobek and Uller can't find kills. It's just not easy. With Bacchus Flop available and Drunk Diplomat, should always be available to just dash away if something comes through. So, if there is a kill in duo lane, it'll likely be off the back of these junglers. I just really would like to see exactly how Mando and Seahos pilot these mages, man. I'm just loving watching mid laners at this point. The double, triple flat pen even creates so much action early. You're never not surprised at how much damage some of these mages can do if you get clipped by, 1 or 2 abilities.
And if the memes and posts on social media haven't been enough, I think a lot of eyes are also on Mando just to get some damage in these sets. He's getting plenty of it with Sun Prod. First blood goes over to Mando, taking down the Ratatosker in mid and kicking things off right for SK Peso's squad. Still going back over to the dual lane. A lot of damage being thrown out. Just missing out on the training exercises on top of Ting Tub. The dual lane standing strong, and a first blood for Mando is a great start for Team SK Peso.
And that's what you got to watch out for, man. I'm telling you, you do have plenty of range on Thoth, but if you want to go off of pure burst damage before ultimates, E-Shell's got it in spades. So unfortunately, Elder's going to have to watch that positioning. Didn't start beads, has the blink, which I think is the preferred option, but CC aplenty on the side of Team SK Peso. So I like that start. Use it though. Sun Prod doesn't actually get credit for the kill. That one goes over to Mando, but still, you have the ability to try and play through this E-Shell or head over towards Solo. SDF has to dodge the Acorn Blast, and he does. Blink was available. I think he could have tried to stun a different way, but at the very least, put some pressure over towards Solo, and now Sun's over in duo lane, and Dr. Bojo falls down. Drunk Dimpleback gets to pick that one up.
Yeah, nice second kill for Team SK Peso, putting 1 in the mid lane, 1 in the dual lane, while Sun Prod probably wishes he got credit for at least 1 of those kills. Happy to take the assist and start getting his lanes ahead, because now this is giving him pressure to rotate just about anywhere that he wants. No real lane that Sunprod needs to pay attention to now after getting a couple of kills on the board for his team.
No, I'm furious if I don't get any of those. Like you can do so much with 2 early kills and 2 assists. You get like some wards. Maybe you finish your Jotuns a bit early. I'm saying, guys, if you want ganks, let me get one of those. Like at this point, 0-2, not the jungle start you want. The one you have to go for though. And as you said, Team SK Peso, probably fine. Just playing it at the slow game. Drunk Dimpleman with an early lead over in duo lane as well. It's nice because Ullr just outclears you so hard at a certain point, but if you start early like this and you're able to get, you know, your Jotuns online a bit earlier, start stacking up that damage, possibly a Soul Eater later in the build, then Ullr pokes you out once, you just full heal off the wave and out-trade pretty immensely. So already a great start here for Drunk Diplomat, something I assumed would happen, but maybe not so much so early. Shouts out to Sunprod, those are some good ganks.
Do see Sunprod rotating back towards mid, spawns out Elder in the jungle. Will then dash back to tier 1 tower. Bit of boxing over in the solo lane. CaptainTwig starting to fall low against SDF on the Cucullin. That is the Warcry down. Not sure if he has the follow-up ultimate in just his non-raged form. Does not. So we'll have to wait. Or maybe one of these junglers to get involved over in the solo lane to see any kind of bloodshed over that direction. Fight over the Jimmy, over the Scepter. Like true support, stand their ground. Well, except for Dr. Bojo, he backed out just a little bit, so that one does go that way. SDF dodges the Acorn Blast again. Elder off the mark with landing that ability. Not that necessarily would have gone for a kill there, but would have been close. And Tar is fired by Drunk Diplomat, takes down Ting Tub. And it's 3 kills on the board for SK Peso.
Yep. Right place at the right time. You do not want to be fighting back. I mean, look at Ting Tub's build, right? That was tier 1 Transcendence into tier 2 Jotuns. It doesn't seem like a lot, but the power curve is pretty immense, and you don't want to try and trade even as an Ullr before you get that itemization online. You got a bit of damage, but just not enough to try and scrap there. So already duo lane off to a great start for Team SK Peso, and they like to play around these objectives. Hey, Mac, that Gold Fury, it's not being eyed up yet, hasn't even spawned in, but you gotta know that this is a team that with a lead over in duo lane will go for the pull like that. Like, no problems at all. Remember, Mando's already ahead. So with that Doom Orb, you clear, you get speedy, run over towards that objective, try and burn it down before anyone gets close. Those are the kind of plays that I'm expecting, but with a team like CaptainTwig's, they are always good at farming nonetheless. So pay attention to that gold differential. Probably not going to be getting too out of hand too quick.
Elder had an invade on the Shaman camp. Actually stole away the cooldown mask and tried to go for a speed invade and will lose his life. Mando and Sunprod doing a ton of damage in response. Dr. Bojo wants to go for a kill here, but CaptainTwig clotheslines him with the flail. Super Deathbang gonna dive right to that backline. Root on Dr. Bojo. Push is good, and SDF is on the board. CaptainTwig trying to get a second kill for himself up against Mando. Mando is juking in a very awkward circle and allows CaptainTwig to land his circle. Double kill for the solo laner, for the titular captain of said team, CaptainTwig.
Why'd you have to say his juke pattern was awkward, man? He tried his best. He didn't have beads. He didn't have any movement. He was frostbounded. He did what he could. Unfortunately, Osiris just doesn't care. If you're an immobile mage, you are getting ran down by Osiris, and that is exactly what happened. Mando, 2 and 1. Still a good rotation, and definitely saved his jungler for a bit, but could not find the kill onto Bojo. That was SDF. Once the Cucullin shows up, the chase down did occur. But finally, CaptainTwig's team on the board. 2 kills towards the Osiris. Should be getting a good tree, but Mando falls down again. My goodness, finally. One of those Acorn Blast connects. And that's a great start to Elder getting on the board. Now 3 kills for Team CaptainTwig, and that should, even up the gold lead just about. I wonder what they do with it, though. They already tried to fight over on the right side of the map. They're looking towards mid. And that's what you got to do, though. When you have a mid laner like Eshell, for example, trying to just get... Wait, what are they going for here?
I think they were hoping Mando.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna shut up for a second to see what happens. Trying to just put her down constantly and not let her free cast is exactly the play they should be going for. I wonder if that was their play all along when they let it through. They're like, hey, maybe we can just camp this Eshell. Who cares if they get through?
Another Shaman camp invade by Elder on the side of Team CaptainTwig. First denying the cooldown, now denying attack speed over their way. Starting up the Bull Demon. Gonna be reset for the time. Elder will dash away. Mando nearby, putting out some poke, but also receiving quite a bit from CaptainTwig. Drunk Diplomat had a great time in the 2v2, not so much in the 1v1. Ting Tub gonna walk forward, dodges out.
There's
The
no help
training
coming.
exercises. Ooh, but a juke on the axe, turns around for the masterful shot. Ting Tub, though, out of mana. Drunk Diplomat saved by the lack of resources available to Ting Tub.
Yeah, I was looking around the map. I was like, there's no one coming. But now, Sun Prodigy's on the way over. Ting Tub uses the axe.
That's everything.
That's all your mana. Now Drunk Diplomat just has to sit here, can ult for the heck of it, and confirm the kill. You gotta know, you can't 1v1 someone for 2 minutes straight. Like, eventually there will be follow-up, and in this case, Ting Tub did not have the mana or the resources to try and continue that fight. And I'm gonna say it just ends up getting baited.
You gotta know, if you nearly killed somebody, put them down to 150 health,
And then they come back
and then they
in.
walk back at you, like, something's gotta be up. And it's Sun Prod, 0-1-4. Hasn't gotten a kill, but has been a kill helper for his team. Dr. Bojo getting smacked by a bit of damage from Mando. Can we just talk about how cool of a name Dr. Bojo is? I'm going to have fun saying that one.
Miff kept calling him Dr. Bozo yesterday when he messed up.
So
And
messed
that's
up.
what I said. I was like, bro, he's playing a good game of Smite.
Dude, it's the battle of the alliterations, though, for the duo lane. Drunk Diplomat, Ting Tub.
I thought you were saying Dr. Bojo. I'm like,
No.
I don't see that.
No.
I was like, I don't see that at all.
No,
But
he
no,
did,
you're
he
right.
had to be Dr. Dojo or Bokter Bojo.
And I'd accept either one. And I think
I think Bokter Bojo is funnier.
well, I'll take that into consideration if I ever make my name Dr. Bojo. Do you use the B emoji, like the red one?
Oh, of course.
Okay, good.
For just the first one. The second one, Bojo stays as a normal B.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. We see no looks towards that Gold Fury yet. Remember, these ADCs. Soul Eater, yes, for Drunk Diplomat on the way, but Ting Tub, not interested. Just going to go the traditional. I want to see Duality, man. Duality is an item that I haven't seen built in this tournament at all, but I've been trying it out on my Uller builds, and it's deceptively strong when you're able to sneak in those hi-rez auto attacks, especially with the Duality procs. 1v1's aplenty. Death making CaptainTwig. Ting Tub jumps in as well. Let's see if any kills come through.
It's no longer 1v1. Ooh, Roots still CC immune CaptainTwig at that point, so a dropped opportunity of a kill from Sun Prod. We will now see Team SK Peso backing up once more, heading towards the Bull Demon. 1v1 between the duo lane. Drunk Diplomat goes in for the dash, doesn't get the damage, goes for Centaurus, only needs 2 shots to take down his lane opponent. There's the 1v1 solo kill that they were hoping for. And that's a 4-0 Chiron. SDF gets the transformation. Could just go back in, but he backed off from the war cry and said it's Sun Prod. Looping back around, Sun Prod says, I will get my first kill of the game. Overhead kick, not quite enough damage. Bacchus goes in, and Sun Prod will finally put himself on the board.
I really thought you jinxed him. I thought
I
someone
did
was going to
too,
take
man.
that kill. Mando versus Cios. Cios does not want to get hit by the full ultimate. He's going to send one right into Mando's face and trades so much better. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, don't get me wrong. Isha has ridiculous burst with her 1-2-3, but if you want to go ult for ult with Thoth, you're going to lose every single time. And of course, once Elder and the rest of the squad shows up, it's not a 1v1 anymore. So Mando falls down for the 3rd time. You got to watch your positioning on Isha as well. She is so easy to punish. Like, you just don't have that much mobility. You got to sit underneath the tower for a large portion of the early game unless you have any sort of vision.
I'll say so far, whether it be this tournament, the games that I've played in on this new patch, I'm not entirely sold on the Uller just yet. And
Bro jumped onto the purple buff.
Ting Tub thought, look, man, purple buff, I can go for that, no problem. Surely nobody's here with that. Nope, there was 2 people waiting around the corner. Goes down for a 4th time this game. 2nd kill now for Sun Prodigy on the board. And a 9-4 lead for Team SK Peso, 2,000 gold up. Only real advantageous leads that CaptainTwig squad has right now is Twig's a tad bit ahead of SDF and Sejos, while XP-wise, sitting about the same as Mando. We're already seeing what he's able to do in these trade-outs and try and get Elderflower there, but Sun Prod's starting to pull ahead in the jungle. And Sun Prodigy is one who will take a lead and run away with it like so. Catch that Sejos under his tier 1 tower between the towers.
You got to watch that positioning, J-Mac. You cannot be between towers sometimes. Robin does have that freedom, though, because you have overhead kick and you have your shielding. Like, you can go for dives like that. Unfortunately, Thoth just does not have that survivability. Man, Why is Tingtum up so far in a 3-level deficit? Like, even if you hit every ability, Drunk Diplomat does not care. I'd be baffled if Tingtum wins this, even with no mono. All right, you got to hit one auto. I was going to say. I'm trash talking the 1v1 and Drunk Diplomat's making me look bad.
He got his beads, too.
Just take it slow, man. You just get some farm online. You're 0-5. Maybe that's why, though. The kill is worth so much more. Right. If you get the revenge kill and the shutdown, you're back in the game. But you can just farm too, you know. We don't need all of this violence when you're 3 levels down.
You still have a tier 2 tower to fall back to.
You have plenty of options. 1v1ing in the purple buff is not recommended, I would say.
In the enemy purple buff, if he's coming up to your purple,
well, he already learned he can't go to his own purple.
Well, he can't jump over the wall to his own purple. You can walk there, but
he could went the old scenic route and just walked around and would have been fine, probably.
Instead, he gets punished for expecting to be safe by jumping over a wall. At this point, Gold Fury started up by Team SK Peso. Going down a little bit slowly, not having their hunter there just yet, but Drunk Diplomat on the way to help expedite this process. For Team SK Peso, what was about a 2,500 gold lead. Gonna bump himself up to nearly 3,000 now. Response for Team CaptainTwig is to go over towards the Bull Demon, take that one. Get some ward vision. Hey, look at that. They get a free ward right out of the pit immediately. SDF's dropped down there just to see what was going on in the pit. Gets taken away by CaptainTwig.
And you got to love that free gold. That's an instant investment if you're going for Bull Demon. It's not going to be more worth than Gold Fury, but hey, depends on what you do with that vision, I suppose. A little bit of action. I saw Elder go for the ult, was looking for Mando in between the towers. Doesn't find him, but there is a bit of a scrap happening at the red buff. Seems like low health bars aplenty, but did Dr. Bojo go too far in?
Used his ultimate, dashes away. Drunk Diplomat, by the way, gets the 1v1 on Tingtum yet again. And Dr. Bojo tries to go into a disrupt with CC, but ends up dying to Sun, Prodigy, and the rest of Team SK Peso. We even see SDF going aggressive towards the blue buff there, but not going to get anything this time. It is just a famine in the duo lane for Tingtum right now. 13-4 reads the total kills, 6 of those on the carry for Team SK Peso. Drunk Diplomat needs someone to come take care of this guy over in the dual lane if you're on the side of CaptainTwig. But it just feels like CaptainTwig's squad is just leaving him there and trying to deal with anything else.
And Tingtum just can't take the hint that he's not able to win these 1v1s yet. If you want to check at the builds, it's what? A full
item.
Yeah, a full item. I was trying to think of the semantics, but it is literally a full item and 4 levels, just jumped up to 3. I mean, this is not an easy 1v1 to win. Even if you land an axe, Drunk Diplomat he's got Soul Eater, man. 1 wave, and all of the Uller damage is just gone. That's the benefit of a pickup like Soul Eater. And because it's got, like, what, 55 power on it, you're not even losing damage. So, not a great trade to have. It seems like Tingtum's going into either Titan's Bane or Brawlers next. And even with the Brawlers, you should just farm and get out. That's a better option. But the 6-0 shutdown is too enticing, so the scrapping will not stop anytime soon. There is no objectives to be done. Look at why is he so far up, man?
I mean, Elder is in the jungle, so there is some potential safety back for Tingtum.
This could be big.
Hits with the giddy up. Drunk Diplomat pops the beads quickly. Aegis under the tower. Still has Centaurus if he needs to use it. Damage is quite there. Tingtum's going to go down to the tower. Drunk Diplomat. Oh, off the side on the wait, hold on, dot damage.
Oh my gosh!
Diplomat with the double kill.
And this man is drunk. Imagine if he was sober, J-Mac. That's insane. I said it might be worth it to go for the dive. It was not. Your Aegis will not save you. My goodness. I thought he needed that Centaurus. He's like, nah, I was clearing waves with that one, bro. You think I needed the 3rd shot? Oh my goodness.
I think he needed shot 2.
Yeah, this is hard to watch over in the duo lane. What can be done, you know? I think Tingtum, he was in a position where he could have stayed back, but those days are over. He's safe nowhere. If you are in Centaurus range, you are in Drunk Diplomat's sights. And he's got them set on just about everyone. My goodness. No objectives available currently. Primal Fury almost up. And you better believe Team SK Peso will be pulling the second they can.
Fury. 30 seconds away. Drunk Diplomat level 18 right now at a 17-minute mark. Maybe surprising that he's only level 18 after an 8-0 start so far on the Chiron. This is the only extra farm that TinkTub's been allowed to get this whole game, has been shield. And he might not even get that chance to go for it. Masterful shot. Did not actually steal that one away. I think TinkTub may have just barely reset it in time to stop the dot from taking it.
But look at bro. He's still at the tower line.
He has not learned his lesson. TinkTub, you had backup last time and you both still lost. Oh, giddy up misses. Jumps in place. Okay, hold on. Axos, power play. Got to take him down. Nope. Aegis and Beads. Aegis not available. Beads not used. SK Peso gets his first kill of the game. 105 on the Bacchus. But, honestly, no, I'll say it like this. If backup didn't arrive, TinkTub may have taken that. Because he hit everything and Drunk Diplomat missed everything.
Yeah.
But it's very rarely a true 1v1 in Smite anymore.
And if I replaced ham on my turkey sandwich, it'd be a ham sandwich, you know? Like, it doesn't really matter because he's still 0-8 and Drunk Diplomat is 8-0. Someone's got to kill him. It's just not going to happen anytime soon. Unfortunately for TinkTub. He went Crusher, by the way. He didn't get Titan's Bane or Brawlers, which I feel is just wrong. I get it. Like, you're trying to kill a squishy character, so Crusher is just more DPS, but you got to rotate eventually. Like,
no lifesteal either.
I don't know,
compared to
man.
double sustain from Drunk Diplomat.
I'm just trying to...
Triple if you got the passive.
If you think about it, maybe the strat is just let Drunk Diplomat get as fed as possible, then shut him down. You know, you build him up, you shut him down, and then maybe Team SK Peso goes, hey, our unkillable guy finally died. Maybe our mentals are not as powerful as we thought. And more so, TinkTub has not stopped shooting. Say what you want about the man, but he has not cowered under his tower, because it doesn't exist. He hasn't retreated to hide away. Man sees Chiron and just goes for blood. And look at this. You think he's running? No, he's got 30% mana, and he's still like, should I jump in here? Is this a 1v1 opportunity?
He's kind of owning it right now. His shield is gone. Axe Toss is good, but now he's used everything. Hold on. Another one hits. 2 abilities.
Sun just watched.
Sun showed up for the credits at that point.
I don't even know if he got the assist. He might have. He was close enough. I think Sun Prodigy probably did.
Look. I'll give the respect to TinkTub.
Okay.
He's got the I'd rather go 0-30 than 0-10, because if at 0-10, that means I stopped shooting my shot.
Yeah.
And I gave up. And he ain't giving up. He ain't done shooting shots yet.
And can I just say, if TinkTub was playing like he is currently, from an even standpoint, he wins every one of these 1v1s.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, he's hitting everything, but doesn't matter now. Bro's 9-0.
9-0. For Drunk Diplomat, Tier 2 tower for Team SK Peso. Not quite. SK gets thrown back to the tower. Says, I'll do a shot at it real quick before I bounce back away. Tier 2 tower. Well, now that's not even safe for TinkTub to fall back to because it is gone. Drunk Diplomat able to go back to base at level 20 and pick up that bluestone. Now, if fights were kind of close, and they haven't really been, they're even less close now. That extra boost of damage is on the table for Drunk Diplomat.
I'm wondering if CaptainTwig can close gap and get the Drunk Diplomat if they can find a kill. Like, if you think about it, there is a ridiculous amount of range and dive on CaptainTwig's squad. They've got Elder who can go to the sky. They've got CaptainTwig who's going to have Blink and Lord of the Afterlife. And then you have Thoth and Uhr to worry about. So it's not as if this Chiron's unkillable. It's just always been 1v1s or 2v1s at best. You got to use Twig's lead. Well, it's gone now, but what he had was a lead. Team SK Peso grabs the Pyromancer, all the while TinkTub elects not to rotate. Definitely the smart play to stay over in duo lane, try and hit level 20. But I'm thinking Fire Giant may be on the cards here for Team SK Peso. They're grouped up, and TinkTub's still over in duo.
TinkTub just going to keep split pushing. Get his farm. He was down 2 levels, or down 4 levels, I should say. Now only down 2. Takes Tier 1 tower. He's got another minion wave on the way. If he gets the right call out from his team, he could stick around, just go ahead, split push this one, no problem. Get himself close to that level 19 mark. Not quite hitting it yet, but Tier 2 tower should put him fairly close to that point. Now's where you back out. Now you don't stick around because look who's here. It's SDF. I feel like
that's weird.
Man, last set we talked, like yesterday we were talking all about Super Death Fang, but now it's just been the Drunk Diplomat show.
I've never seen TinkTub jump away. That was just a weird
Well, it wasn't a Chiron this time. It was a Cullen.
Yeah, it wasn't Drunk Diplomat, so he was able to run. He was able to trick himself. He's like a bull, like when you see red. He doesn't use it like, I need to chase down, but when Super Deathfang shows up, retreat is the only option. Fury started up. No one's nearby. Ting Tub's close, but not within Hail of Arrows range. So the Oni Fury goes the way of Team SK Peso. I really do want to see the Fire Giant pulled any minute now. Like, they have the damage, they've got the burn, they have the burst, they have the zone. One thing that we worry about is starter items. Maybe they want Mando to hit that level 20 threshold first, which is certainly a possibility. And Sun Prodigy also hasn't upgraded his starter, so I guess there's a few more buffs they can grab before they go in for it, but your lead's only going to get so much bigger, right? You might as well just try it, go for a bait, fight if you need to.
6,000 gold up for Team SK Peso. Group up around Fire Giant. The XP curve starting to go down a little bit, though. Now that we're starting to hit these level 20s, that XP is starting to matter a whole lot less. Seho's already at 20, just waiting to upgrade his starter. Elder forced to blink it. That gets the blink out of SK Peso. And a responding ultimate immediately after. That's a bit of fear putting Elder
Bro's so scared.
From SK Peso. Now Drunk Diplomat taking a little bit of poke from the Uller. They'll back away, get started up for the Fire Giant call for Team SK Peso. Drunk Diplomat,
what?
Though, line gets pulled his direction
What
from
is
SK.
happening? Both carries got knocked up. They said we're done. They
That
said get off the objective.
reset.
They both got knocked up.
Reset Ting Tub, low, nearly down. STF, one more ability, but he's not going to land a Ting Tub. Out for the time being, but CaptainTwig trying to live as long as he can. Big heals coming in from Mando. Keeps the team alive. Masterful shot, not enough damage. And Elder waiting in the wings for an opportunity to go back in. Super Deathfang this whole time has been pushing into the back line. Could have fooled me. That dude's full health.
Well, Elder doesn't have the blink, does have the ultimate off cooldown, so only has the Acorn Blast. The carries are full health now. They got knocked up last time, but Fire Giant being reset. Team CaptainTwig, they're full health now. They're coming back in.
Mando is pulled out of the pit. Drunk Diplomat has left as well. That's going to be the call off. Super Deathfang surrounded by 4. Big pick for CaptainTwig. And look at that. Ting Tub on the board, killing the enemy solo laner. Gets stunned out by SK Peso. It's now a 5v4 for CaptainTwig's team. Final Judgment clips Mando. He's forced back under the tier 1 tower, and Ting Tub might not be over. He got that first kill. He's seen the light, and he wants a little bit more, but unfortunately he's running into Sun Prod and the rest of the team of SK Peso. Ting Tub, after getting his first taste of kills, goes down immediately after.
That is crazy. He said, I was 0-10, now I'm 1-10. I am diving the back line by myself. Missed everything, by the way. Usually if you dive with that much swagger, like you have some confidence to you, bro walked in through 3 abilities, choked them all, used both relics, and died. Unlucky for Ting Tub. At the very least, you stop Fire Giant. That's the benefit, or I guess the negative side, of a Chiron. You do not do Fire Giant quickly. You're okay with getting some trades there, but you are giving the opportunity for Team CaptainTwig to get back into this fight. Not to mention, Twig is a threat, man. This Osiris forced out the ult from Sun Prod, was getting to the carries pretty efficiently. Super Deathfang just gets slowed to eternity. That's the reason he dies there. This Osiris is only scaling, and Twig, known Prophetic Cloak non-stacker, is only getting more tanky as the game continues.
Man, I wonder if we can go back on history and see how many cloaks he stacked up. We'll have to hold that thought maybe for a little bit longer. This has just been a storied Twig item at this point. It's been this Prophetic Cloak. Rare to stack it. I think I can recall maybe once or twice over the course of any qualifier game that we've seen him. Group stage matches. Yesterday's games even. Team CaptainTwig, they've got some fight back in them. Level 20 starting to hit across the board. It's just itemization that they're falling a little bit behind on right now. Team SK Peso pushing up tier 2 tower. It's SDF at the back line with a double ultimate. Centaurus raining damage from above. Waiting for that masterful shot to get the final damage. And SDF will put down Seho's 2 off the board right away from Team CaptainTwig. Speaking of the captain himself, being dove on by 3. Big knockup coming from Elder, but Sun Prod able to stay alive, and SDF picks up the double kill. Dr. Bojo down, a Phoenix falling right behind. It's just Elder and CaptainTwig left to defend. 5 from SK Peso march into the throne room. Elder Misses out the stun. CaptainTwig dives in, lands on top of one. Elder still trying to get some damage. CaptainTwig able to find one. The Titan is falling low, but CaptainTwig has picked up the double kill. Elder picks up another one. It's the 2v5 defense, and they're gonna get it. 2 for them. CaptainTwig picks up the triple. A full house for the jungle solo combo.
That is so sick, man. CaptainTwig goes back to base. What's he pick up? Only one item can save the day, and it's Scorching Blink. He gets the true damage on just about everyone, and then just says, Elder, we gotta go back and forth. I was about to say, Team SK Peso figured out they can't kill Fire Giant, so why not just kill everyone and destroy the Titan? But those low health bars and the Scorching Blink put Team CaptainTwig right back in this game. Fire Giant is the call. SDF, does he have teleport available? Looks like yes. Will he have enough time to even get there is the question. 15 seconds. I don't know. This might be done by then.
Fire Giant starting to go down. CaptainTwig taking this one up for the team. Fire Giant, half HP. SK Peso already spawned in, but Fire is going down a little too fast. By the time the SDS spawns in and even attempts to teleport to one of these wards, the Fire Giant will be gone. Team CaptainTwig, a phenomenal base defense by Twig and Elder. Net them 5 kills and a Fire Giant for all 5 members.
Man, I want to know how much damage that Scorching Blink did. I really think he hit 3 to 4 members, and they were all just dancing on top of it. They had so much CC. But now you got to remember, the Titan is a stiff breeze from falling down, which means Team SK Peso, they don't have to sit underneath the tier 2s and the Phoenix to defend. I mean, you could just send Sun Prod, you could let Deathfang teleport in. Like the Titan is going to have to be constantly monitored if you are Team CaptainTwig. So it could be one ward, one mistake, and your Titan drops down. Team SK Peso is still in a commanding position. Grab the Fury, and they start pushing forward. Again, the base is not broken, so Team CaptainTwig, they don't really have an opening just yet, whereas Team SK Peso, they can play the map the way they want, at least for a bit.
Now, this is not meant to sound mean-spirited or toxic in any manner.
Sure, I'll be the judge of that.
But when Ting Tub has died 11 times, is half of the deaths that Team SK Peso has been able to pick up kill-wise.
You're walking a fine line here, J-Mac.
The rest of the team hasn't been the ones to fall super far behind. So killing Ting Tub
does nothing.
Doesn't do much when the other 4 members of the team are as powerful as they are. So
that wasn't BM, you're right.
It, sucks to Ting Tub for dying 11 times. So applaud the man for trying as many times he did to get a kill.
No, he was inting. That's not. Listen, you're a chair 1. Your job is to tell it like it is. I'm an analyst. Bro was inting. I can tell you that. Don't worry.
I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, but
I'll take the doubt away. Bro was dropping a sticker.
Dude was dropping a bit of an into there, but the rest of the team, as strong as they are, we saw what CaptainTwig and Elder did in a 2v5 because all the focus was put on Ting Tub. None was put on the captain of CaptainTwig's team. Elder up on the tree. Team spread out a little bit. Sun Prod's all by himself. SDF in the middle of 4. And you see Sun Prodigy have to ult away. Super Deathfang trying to get that kill, but Ting Tub's still alive throughout all that. SDF wants to go for that kill, but getting that kill isn't going to be as meaningful. He's even out. It's CaptainTwig you want to pay attention to, and Mando and the team do just that. Drunk Diplomat gets 1, taking down Dr. Bojo, and CaptainTwig down for 50. But they do trade out their solo laners.
Yeah, and they got to push forward, though. That Phoenix on right side could be coming up any second now. Ting Tub trying to take care of fire minions. Team SK Peso, they surge forward. You got to watch out for C-Host. He has both relics available, but no Thoth ultimate. 1 Phoenix. I think you just push in for right bird here, but it looks like they're trying to go in for left. I mean, mid.
Elder blinks in, gets a stun. Big damage onto the 2 carries. SK Peso leaps in place. Ting Tub with the wraparound. He's the assassin now, but he gets giddy up by Drunk Diplomat and Sun Prodigy. Gets the damage thrown to his dome by Seho. Drunk Diplomat stands his ground. Ting Tub, laugh at him. He's killed you 11 times. You got him with 1 finally. He's on the board against his enemy carry, and he's going to spam those abilities. Run up as fast as you can to try and get that kill. He's waiting for that Axos to come back online. Jump in. Who's going to throw that? It's right to the dome of Mando. Ting Tub's back in this. 2 more kills for him.
He's not done, though. He's going to try and chase this, right? We've seen how this man likes to play. No way. He doesn't want the tower dive. Super Deathfang's on the way. Is this going to be a bait? Nah, SK Peso has to go back to base. And remember, the most important thing, the birds are up, J-Mac. The Titan is healing. Uller late game has arrived. Nobody kills Ting Tub 12 times in a row.
Ting Tub, gonna rename this man to King Tub right now.
All
Those
right.
2
I don't know about that. 3-11 is still 3-11.
Hey, they're still pushing forward for Phoenix. 2 seconds on Sun Prod. Drunk Diplomat just a few seconds after. Elder up on the tree. Who will his landing target be? That's both tanks up right now, and he splits the uprights on all of them. Sejos fires off the final judgment, and it comes up empty-handed with it. Now Elder forced dash away. Sun Prod dives in with a Mystic Rush, and that's going to be the kill onto Elder. Now it is a 4v4. Mando still 5 seconds back till his respawn, and CaptainTwig has dove away with his own ultimate. But Team SK Peso, they're not done yet. They're waiting for that stun from the box. It lands on a Ting Tub. All the while, Drunk Diplomat stands his ground, has to pop the beads, though, just to get away from Dr. Bojo. And now it's a bit of dangerous waters for Super Deathfang. He's forced out of this fight.
Retreat is the call. Ting Tub likes to go to the back line. Will he make that play now? No, just going for the Shaman camp. EFG spawning here shortly. Pyromancer also available. And I got to assume a full item in the back way for Ting Tub, Dr. Bojo, and Sejos. Like, they have to have the gold for that, right? This has been such a long game and a lot of kills coming through. Yeah, about 3K in pocket for Ting Tub. So, if it is the duality, could be the pickup. If it is the Titan's Bane, could be the pickup. Fail Not is going to be the option, though. Once that extra crit chance, once the extra cooldown. Remember, Phoenixes are up. EFG is the target. Team SK Peso, the first ones in the pit. Take a look at the relics, though. No beat for Drunk Diplomat. No shell for Dr. Bojo. That's really it. So it looks like we're going to be fighting on equal fronts towards this EFG. And honestly, look at the gold, man. This game is essentially even here, J-Mac. The climb back has been slow but steady. And now Team CaptainTwig can stand on equal footing at this EFG fight. In fact, they're rotating over. They're going to grab an Oni Fear. They're going to go to Beacon. They know that Team SK Peso can't pull EFG fast enough. They don't have enough damage.
That first 30 minutes of Ting Tub getting owned does not matter anymore. He's full build, matching Drunk Diplomat. In fact, Dr. Bojo even a tier up ahead in his itemization. Sejos just waiting to finish off that book to cap off of his build. We do see a bit of a reset of momentum now. Team SK Peso aware of the damage output that CaptainTwig squad can do. And can I just say that Sejos missing that final judgment in the fight at mid, and somehow his team's still able to stand his ground, the damage output even outside of final judgment enough to push Team SK Peso back. Imagine if that ult hadn't connected with somebody. That could have been an entirely different fight for CaptainTwig's team.
Unfortunately, I have seen a lot of those final judgments fall short, so not even with all the CC that Team CaptainTwig hasn't been able to find too many meaningful targets for that ultimate. But when you don't get hit by it enough, sometimes you forget how much damage it does, so maybe setting up for the one-shot ultimate that really counts, that really puts Team CaptainTwig in a winning position. I don't know. Keep your eyes on Sejos, because there is still a ton of damage in play. I haven't seen Drunk Diplomat just absolutely chunk someone with Centaurus either. It's been a while since a lot of kills have really fell through. Not so much since that Titan defense that Elder and CaptainTwig had. But now we're at a bit of a slow dance here. Remember, EFG tougher both of these teams without true auto attack carries. I mean, Ting Tub picked up the Fail Not, so there will be a little bit of crit flying through, but not enough to just pull EFG in the face of 5. So we're going to be watching to see who steps up first. Dr. Bojo, no blink, so if you are getting Sobek plucked, it's from the usual distance you're used to, whereas SK Peso has blink, flop could be big. I'm just thinking about the initiation here, and neither team really has an easy way in.
Ting Tub by his lonesome rejoins the team, now leaves Elder by themselves in mid. Semi-global ultimate means Elder can rejoin this fight at any given moment. But it's just a dance around Enhanced Fire Giant. Last time it was a regular Fire Giant that pushes Team SK Peso to try and go for that base offense. They're stopped short by CaptainTwig and Elder. And that was over 10 minutes ago that had happened at this point. So now we've hit this brick wall of momentum where both teams trying to poke and prod, put some of the health bars low just like that onto CaptainTwig. Lord of the Afterlife used defensively. A nice little route there by Mando sets up for some quick poke against the Captain.
Once that ult's down, Super Deathfang decides he wants to go in, sieging forward. Not getting angry enough, though. He's not going to transform for some time. Ting Tub's got the momentum as well. Elder's in the sky. Does he find a target? I think they back up here. I think this is a double down. You wait for Death Fang's transformation, and you take that as a small win, but you do lose 2 key ultimates if you're Team CaptainTwig.
Now, Super Death Fang's transform. Down for a little bit. Still will sit in the rage form for just a few moments. But we reset once more, Trelly. Ultimate for CaptainTwig, a little ways off from coming back up. Super Death Fang rejoins the team over for Pyromancer. 1 Runic Bomb for CaptainTwig, an extra Runic Bomb, or I should say 1 for Team SK Peso would be good to try and match that damage and secure potential around fire. Ruin lands on CaptainTwig, Team Tub, trying to put some poke into SK Peso. Does get some decent damage for now. It's CaptainTwig's team stepping forward. A scorching blink onto Elder from Sun Prodigy. SK Peso squad, they find the first blood of the fight. But what about the follow-up after? Super Death Fang, half HP, Tang Tub, barely any HP, masterful shot hits, but what about the dot damage after? It won't be enough to take him down. CaptainTwig on the run. SK Peso slows him, does get him with the horrific, but it's a scorching blink out by Twig to stay alive. SDF low, but not enough. Seo's beads and Aegis, but it's a little too early because Sun Prodigy will walk him right down.
You see the siege forward. CaptainTwig teleported in, but they're not going for Fire Giant. They want Dr. Bojo. The Sobek cannot survive. Mando gets the kill. Now, once again, it's a 2v5 base defense. Can CaptainTwig and Tink do it again? It's not going to be easy.
SDF teleporting in. They've done it once. Can they do it twice? Can CaptainTwig hold the line? This time with Tub right by his side. Good damage and poke on a drunk Diplomat already. He's low. Heal keeps him alive for the time. SK Peso dives to the backline, but CaptainTwig gets rooted and booted to the grave by drunk Diplomat. But now Elder has shown back up to take his place. Drunk Diplomat stunned out in the backline. Up into the sky goes Elder. The Titan is falling low. The dunk is not quite on everybody, and it's Team SK Peso. 39 minutes nearly to cap off game 1.
Man, how long ago was that first Titan siege? Like 10, 15 minutes ago? That's where we could have seen the end, but a beautiful base defense from CaptainTwig and Elder was able to stall this game out just enough to get full builds, just enough to get full damage, but turns out the fight in the pit is where things start to crumble. You force out CaptainTwig's ult, you force out Elder's ult. Not the worst trade. You see CaptainTwig's team siege forward, but then Elder gets caught out. Sun Prodigy makes a beautiful stop. SDF stalls the rest of the team, and then it's just a conveyor belt effect. They just could not stay alive, and Team SK Peso, they don't care about EFG. They're just going to kill your Titan.
On the best of 3 bronze match here with elimination on the line. It's now SK Peso 1 game away from qualifying to the LAN. Can they close it out in 2? We'll find out after this break.
Back in that bag again. Whoa, yeah, hey. Back in that, yeah. Tell them to watch it. Now I ain't talking my pockets, just know we ain't running out the way that we stock it. If I got it, you got it. If I call it, she slide and tell her to mop it. Yeah, I got that doing. Damn, she took that thing off and bring it around. Going at it till I'm on. Put that 90 in a hole, I'm beating it down. I'm back in that bag again. Whoa, oh, say less. I'm back in that bag again. Yeah. Oh, say less. I'm back in that. Yeah, what you doing? Yeah, I'm back in that. Hey, where you going? Hey, back in that bag again. Now bring me around your friends. You know that I'm bagging them. Request me on Facebook. No, I ain't adding them. Positions I had her in. Hit from the back, that was splattering. Calling her friend, tell her pull up. Word, let's make it a gathering. They loving that baby. Nah, I'm Matic now, but she loving the splash again. I just be cashing in her buns, just like a wedding. I'm crashing in. Hundreds on hundreds, I'm moving and grooving. She wanna cut up, I'ma slash again. Buckets on buckets, I'm switching edition. Back in my bag, going back again. I feel like Aladdin, yeah. I'm on the carpet, flying through orbits, ain't doing no talking. Wow. They on my body as soon as I walk and be stalking. They loving the drip, they think I'm a force, it gotta move cautious. Back in my duffel, I'm working a double like I'm in the office. Tell them to watch it, now I ain't talking my pockets, just know we ain't running out the way that we stock it. If I got it, you got it. If I call it, she slide and tell her to mop it. Yeah, I got that doing. Damn, she took that thing off and bring it around. Going at it till I'm on. Put that 90 in a hole, I'm beating it down. I'm back in that bag again. Whoa, oh, say less. I'm back in that bag again. Yeah. Oh, say less. I'm back in that. Yeah, what you doing? Yeah, I'm back in that. Hey, where you going? And you should know that we on this forever. You don't know me well, just ask again. And you should know that I'm with all the Why you sit down and just watch the film? And you should know that Khan got a bottle of Don feeling like Julio, pass it in. Mine on some M's, going in. Back in that bag where I'm going again. I'm dunking on him, just lower the rim. Free my it's all in a pen. I hit it once, I'ma hit it again. She with me, you know she a 10. She a Barbie, you know I'm a Ken. Rolling some dope and sipping some gin. It's always been nuts, it never was them. Back in my bag, they know it's a gem. Tell them to watch it, and I ain't talking my pockets. Just know we ain't running out the way that we stock it. If I got it, you got it. If I call it, she slide and tell her to mop it. Yeah, I got that going. Then she took that thing off and bring it around. Going at it till I'm on. Put that 90 in a hole, I'm beating it down. I'm back in that bag again. Whoa, whoa. Oh, say less. I'm back in that bag again. Yeah, yeah. Oh, say less. I'm back in that. Yeah. What you doing? Yeah, yeah. I'm back in that. Hey, where you going? Hey,
for the energy. I ain't worried, give a fuck about the enemy. Beat it, got them thinking it was 10 of me. That's why tonight I'm on the weed, not the Hennessy. Lying, but I tell you how it really be. Drop a game, I can sprinkle for infinity. I'm the player of the year if I do say. Cause I treat a Saturday like a Tuesday. Came through with the sauce for the soul food. Eat good, smoke great, that's a whole move. Whole time, half time for the smoke break. In the mission, from the mission for the long cake. Laced up, rope chain, got my tongue tied. Top down, out, let them sun dry. I'm that and I said it before I had proof. Can't believe it till they see it, that's a sad truth. Hey, I be out of town all the time, out of blood rush. You be out of line, out of bounds, out of comeback. I be out of town all the time, what it does at. Yeah, you be telling lies in your rhymes, where your funds at. Mailbox money in my real name. 30 years old and they still lame. Tryna kick it in the H like a field goal. Touchdown with finesse, that's a heel toe. Look, what you thought? Think better. Sundress, no drawers, got the seat wetter. Got my suede jumpsuit for the wind chill. Hot girl, but she blowing like a windmill. Truly, I ain't got a flex for the routine. Too clean with a plate full of poutine. Worrying about me can't help you. Way better when it's heard and it's felt too. Get my weed from the west, gold from the south. Show 'em how to make them triple O's from the couch. Counting on luck ain't a life plan. I'ma have the last laugh for a lifespan. Hey, I be out of town all the time, out of blood rush.
Team SK Peso now one game away from qualifying to the LAN, join their fellow NA counterparts off a dominant Game 1 performance, at least to start things off, Trelly. You know, this was looking like a pretty big duo diff to kick this game off. Then we start hitting that 30-minute mark where all those kills didn't really mean a whole lot. We saw a lot more bounce back coming from Team CaptainTwig. The base defense by Twig and Elder was enough to hold off SK Peso and delay this game about another 15 minutes or so. But a couple of picks here and there, especially the one against Elder up on the enemy lines, starts the eventual conveyor belt effect of Team SK Peso able to walk through and win this one.
ADC diff, not duo diff.
Sorry.
Let's not bunch in. There was only one person who was 0-10, or 1-10. 1-11? It ended up being 3-12, I believe. But at one point, yeah, there was only one in the duo lane that was continuously going in like that. And that would be tanked up. So I'm not ready to bunch in Dr. Bojo with that conversation.
That's fair. That's on me.
Drunk Diplomat 13-2 though was a highlight to be sure for Team SK Peso, but you don't come back into a game like that without the whole team operating on all cylinders, right? I think the CaptainTwig squad recognized they were behind. They knew how to come back in, and then they got to an even standpoint at that EFG. But with Bluestone Hunters that don't have much auto attack damage, both teams recognized that EFG was not something they wanted to gamble with, and they just decided to go in for these jungle fights. And of course, it was the pick onto Elder that ended up winning the day. Sun Prodigy in the right place at the right time, or more so Elder being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Still, great damage numbers for Tingta. We did know the Ullr would eventually get online. It was just, could you translate that into meaningful picks? And the answer, unfortunately, was no. I would say these mages were pretty much dealt with, though. There was a lot of dive on both squads, so the Mando's E-Shell didn't end up being that end-all, be-all oppressive pick. The Thoth wasn't allowed to free cast, so that's something that goes into picks and bans here in wave number 2, because I think both of those gods were picked with pretty high prio, where things like the Ullr, I believe, was last pick. The Chiron was, what, number 2 in that selection, so maybe the E-Shell not the highest. The Medusa, still something to worry about, but as far as picks and bans for game number 2 goes, I don't know that there's that many adjustments that Team CaptainTwig needs to do. It's more so a playstyle diff. And the Ullr looked good late game, but if that's the way Tingtup has to play early to get to that point, maybe I'd say a different selection. He had a great Charybdis game yesterday, so maybe back on the auto attackers. That could be something different.
Yeah, maybe grab the Hunter before the second wave of bans, so the top prio Hunters don't get all completely taken away, because it was a Chiron pick, and then we saw, I think it was an On Her and a Charybdis kind of ban following immediately after, and Ullr isn't the automatic you got to go to next after that situation, but it seemed to at least be, I don't know if I'll call it a comfort zone for Tingtup. It was not an easy first game. He never gave up. I'll give him credit. He never gave up. He kept trying. 0-4 doesn't matter. 0-5 doesn't matter. 0-8, got to still keep trying to make those plays. Just didn't quite work out throughout the early game. Made it a difficult transition to the late game, but then the late game, Team SK Peso started getting their momentum, found those big picks, and able to find a win there. So I do agree that for Team CaptainTwig, maybe some adjustments to not try and scale so heavily towards the late game, and maybe Tingtup's struggling a bit in the duel lane, give him a little bit of help over there, because he was always that close to getting that kill, but just needed a little bit of extra bump.
I mean, that's a good point as well. I guess you could, if you were, wanted more jungle pressure, you could also go for it. But we did see Elder go in for the jungle gank, and they got 1v2'd. It was a little bit too little too late, right? Drunk Diplomat was already kind of fed at that point. So maybe you show before then. That could certainly help out. But Drunk Diplomat wasn't being out of position, is what you have to remember. He wasn't at the enemy tower line. Drunk Diplomat was under his own tower when he was fighting Tingtup. Bro was sitting behind bastions like, I don't even want these kills anymore. They just keep coming to me. So I think Tingtup was a playstyle diff, if anything. You can't beg your jungler to go for a gank when you're diving the enemy tower. That just seems like a little bit much. So playstyle diff entirely. I think getting Tingtup on an auto attacker may be the way to go. And especially with the comeback they had, if he's on an auto attacker, they can burn through Fire Giant. They would have had enough time to do so. It's just the Bluestone Hunters are a little bit more flavor of the month at the moment. More Bluestone damage, squishier targets, bigger numbers. But someone's got to kill FG. That's what I've learned.
Yeah, because Fire Giant was not really an option for either team. I don't even remember if we saw...
We didn't see an EFG.
One go down.
We saw one Fire Giant, no EFGs.
Yeah, we had 38 minutes of play and a single Fire Giant taken. It is kind of the story that you can chalk up there. Picks and bans, though, for game number 2. Ready to go here. CaptainTwig now taking that first pick spot. And going to be putting a little bit of priority over towards SK Peso on that ban. Specifically, Fafnir banned away. Peso's response, maybe going to be taking Chunga off the table. And I don't imagine we'll see anything too different with the picks and bans. Maybe now that CaptainTwig's in that first pick spot, they can grab the E-Shell for themselves, but then you still leave quite a bit of options open. Instead, a direct shot at Drunk Diplomat, Chiron. A respect ban there for CaptainTwig, taking that one away from the dual lane of SK Peso.
Probably a smart call. Had a fantastic performance on it. Don't want to deal with it. Remember, even if you go Bluestone Hunter, Fafnir is going to make sure that you're able to shred through that Fire Giant, so Team CaptainTwig is going to keep that on the forefront of their minds. Medusa, E-Shell. Those are the picks that are coming to my mind right now. Again, E-Shell I don't think is the end-all be-all, but Medusa certainly is. Surprisingly so, Team CaptainTwig are the ones that ban that away, so maybe they just don't want to deal with the Medusa. They don't want to play it themselves, and Team SK Peso, they don't want to see what the E-Shell is like in Sejos' hands, so they're going to take that one away as well. Does Team CaptainTwig value the Terra? The answer would be yes. Wasn't the question I was going to ask, but immediate lock in there. They didn't even want to think about that option. So, yeah, Terra first pick. A little bit surprising, but maybe you just want to feel out the rest of this draft, and there's no other picks that just scream to them high prio.
I'm thinking high pressure. If you want dual lane right now, if you're SK Peso, Sylvanas Charybdis maybe. Just immediate kind of snap combo there. You lock in your dual lane, you get guaranteed lane pressure, and you take away the pick away from Ting Tub at that point. So could be an option for Team SK Peso. They got a little bit of time to think. I like what we saw from the Bacchus in the previous game. I think it was a 1-1-17 finish there for SK Peso on the Bacchus pick. Got some good early pressure for Drunk Diplomat and had plenty of damage to spare for the rest of the team. We will take a moment to see what does get prioritized here for SK Peso. Oh, what am I thinking? Super Death Fang is on the table. That means Cucullin has got to be the lock-in if it's available. Will be so, along with Yu Huang. So nothing in the dual lane, but a dangerous top 2 still for Team SK Peso.
Yeah, I've been a big Yu Huang believer as of recent. I think that dueling dragons into Phoenix Flame is just one-shotting just about everyone right now. So I love that combo. Didn't think that the Yu Huang needed to be that high prioritized. Maybe Team CaptainTwig was thinking to go towards it as well. But if you just want safety in mid lane and plenty of damage, Yu Huang is going to cover both those bases. I think I would have went towards the Charybdis, but Team CaptainTwig's not grabbing it here, so it looks like they can wait one more option before they try and lock that one in. Certainly a possibility, but Team CaptainTwig, they got their dual lane, the Terra and the Rama. Scary stuff. It already does change up what we asked for, and that's no more ability-based hunters, so you've got some shred there if you are Team CaptainTwig. Question is, are you trying to go for your jungler? I think we've been seeing jungle picks a little bit later in the mix. Do you want to grab a mid laner before they get banned? That's probably what I would do, because you already know your matchup. You're up against a Yu Huang, so safety, you want someone with an escape so you don't just get owned by dueling dragons every chance you get. Oh, well, yeah, okay, Scylla. That's going to be a good escape. Going to be hard to get owned by dueling dragons in that regard. And you already have a ton of late game damage with the Rama and the Scylla. Now you need some early pressure. So early pressure jungler is probably going to get banned away here by Team SK Peso.
So what does SK Peso go to for their final selection? Could grab a jungler for yourself and then ban those ones away. Could go for a hunter, but considering you'll have the next pick immediately after, maybe hold off on that one. Still need your support too for SK Peso himself. A lot of options out there. Cerberus. One that we saw earlier in our first set. God, that's kind of flown a little under the radar for some folks. We're seeing it kind of at the tail end of SPL's era. Now seeing it pop in, lower health, lower prots means that Cerberus gets a lot of extra value from that Ghastly Breath. And, in my opinion, one of the coolest pieces of tech that's popped out with him now, being able to jump while still channeling your ultimate means that you can fling people so much further out of position than ever before.
And you just get to eat Terra's healing. I mean, that's just going to be nice in general, right? But baseline anti-heal, and you get to steal a little bit of it for yourself. Amaterasu, I forgot. That's a pick that Team CaptainTwig was going first pick if they got the opportunity to. This time, goes to the second wave of bans. So Twig still holding on. He knows he's up against Cucullin. Doesn't care anymore. He's like, you know what, I'll just wait to grab my soul laner later. It's not going to be Osiris. It's not going to be Amma. Mulan, Wukong, one of the two. There's no way it's anything else. I refuse to believe that Twig has any other gods in the wheelhouse, because those are what he went to consistently for the past 4 months now that we've been watching him. So that is probably what we're going to expect from Team CaptainTwig. Team SK Peso, again, Susana was banned away last time. Junglers are still certainly on the forefront of their minds. Going to be interesting what they decide to go to. Team CaptainTwig has one more ban. Will it be the Daji? Will it be the Susano? I mean, Robin's already a good takeaway, so we'll have to see. Not to mention, I forgot, Sun Prodigy does like to go the mage junglers every once in a while. Remember, we were watching him go like Agni, Maman Brigitte. There are plenty of junglers that are available. You're not going to be able to ban them all away, so banning the annoying ones like Robin, who can just immune I'm a monster effortlessly, probably a smart way to go.
Neath currently being hovered for Team SK Peso, which means we had a pass ban, I believe, on the side of CaptainTwig.
They're not scared. It's confidence.
Which is a very, very rare sight to have happened. Oh, there we go. And Wheeler pops in. He's getting a little ahead.
Early jungler. That's what I was talking about.
Early jungler taken out there. So, option still goes over to SK Peso. Do they lock in the Neath? It gives you another ability hunter if you want to go within that route.
I was hoping not.
But maybe focus more towards auto attack. Chernobog being hovered, interesting. Haven't seen Chernobog in quite some time, but
if your name's not Rudy,
you gotta feel like. I mean, Shivalanke is fine. I was gonna say, with how good Charybdis is right now, just gotta feel like if she's open, you go that direction.
Yep.
Shivalanke not gonna quite fill those the same shoes that Charybdis might, but still has decent pressure. Those bolas, we've seen a couple of different fun kills pop up with the bolas, whether it be using the towers to get a branching bola kill, using your enemy to kind of give the extra little bump that direction. So where will they go for the final spot for SK Peso?
One of two.
And you called it for CaptainTwig with some of the remaining picks. It will be the Mulan that way in solo.
Gotta be a jungler here. Tsukuyomi. Wow, this is a pick that I assumed would be very strong in this current meta, but we haven't seen too often. Again, because you kill faster, his ult gets so much value, but because you die faster, it's also very risky. You have to know when you want to use that Piercing Moonlight, when you want to forfeit your life, or even if you can go in. X-Ball and Yu Huang don't scream to me those gods that are just easy pickings for Tsukuyomi. Yu Huang is being able to remove himself, means he never really gets hit by all of those ticks, but X-Ball, he can certainly be ran down by the Tsukuyomi pickup. Ne Zha, however, towards the end. Man, Ne Zha is a god that I never really like, not because of his setup, it's fantastic, not because of his early damage, it's great. It's just that ult loses so much value when you're up against people that know how to beads it and know how to, not get taken up to the sky. And if that's not happening, you're not really getting as much value from the pickup. So, not how I wanted to see this draft finish off, but again, Rama, Scylla, even Mulan really, these aren't gods that come out of the gate ready to go. You need to really evolve Mulan's abilities before she's looking for 1v1s. Scylla can barely clear the wave early on, so Team CaptainTwig really leaning in towards that late game. Question is Ne Zha landing the ults consistently enough? Are you pulling beads with the Cerberus, with the Kakolan, with the Yu Huang ult? If you are, then Ne Zha has a field day.
I'll have to see how much value comes from this Ne Zha on the draft for Team SK Peso. Remember, game number 1, great start over in the dual lane, translates to a fairly strong mid game. Hit a bit of a speed bump when they tried to go for, you could almost call it trying to go for an early end, but in a 5v2 scenario, you'd think that you got the man advantage. You could probably take that one there, but CaptainTwig and Elder are able to hold their ground at that Titan defense, push them back, get a full deicide up against Team SK Peso, push the game a little bit longer, make it a little bit more difficult for SK Peso to close that one out. But now, for Team CaptainTwig, must find a win here to keep their LAN chances alive. Team SK Peso 1 away from qualifying up with our other 2 teams of Rudy and Caustic, as well as EMEA qualifier I Davey. So there's a lot riding on the line for these 2 teams to be able to come out here and play for the LAN, play for that charity, be able to get all the additional loot and goodies and tours and everything else that comes along with the package.
Thank you so much.
A lot riding on this one game right here. Team SK Peso want to try and close it out and maybe give us our first and only 2-0 of the day, or of the weekend.
I was going to say of the weekend.
Of the weekend.
Yesterday was both 3-game sets as well.
Did any EMEAs even go 2-0, or were all those ones 2-1 in full distance as well? I'm trying
You're
to
asking me to remember last week?
That's a fair point. I can barely remember 2 days ago.
I don't remember breakfast this morning. I mean, it was Father's Day. It was popping. I think I got Waffle House.
Waffle House does sound pretty good,
It
honestly.
was popping, though. Like, I had to wait.
I don't doubt it.
I had to wait outside.
I went to Waffle House on Mother's Day. And that was already difficult to do.
That's similar to Father's Day, but fathers like waffles even more.
Apparently so. Apparently, if you want to get some good breakfast at Waffle House on Father's Day, you might be sitting around for a little while longer. But looking at these 2 drafts here, Mulan Tsukuyomi kind of is his bottom 2 pick for CaptainTwig's team. What do these 2 picks offer to this team to kind of maybe help their momentum throughout the game?
Well, again, I've been watching Twig a lot, and at level 2 in lane, he either gets soloed or solos. There's a lot of action that flies at level 2, and Mulan versus Kakolan, I don't think is getting the better end of that trade more often than not. It depends on how the blue buff clear goes. It depends on how your starter item goes. There's a lot to consider. But if you do get first blooded, then Mulan takes a lot longer to evolve her ability. She's a lot less safe. You should be invading blue buff. Tsukuyomi's life gets a lot more miserable. So I'm paying attention to that 2v2, or at least early level 3 in solo links. I think that's where a lot of farm is going to be had. Not to mention, Ne Zha early on, before level 5, he's got a lot of freedom, man. That ring bounce to move across the map, the sashes to confirm damage. And then at level 5, you know there's not going to be a beads going into solo lane, right? You're going to be starting teleport, so there could be a lot that opens up if you look over towards solo lane early. It's just I'm imagining the range and the dive potential between a Mulan, a Tsukuyomi, and then Rama snipes. Like, you only get one Aegis, so that is going to be connecting pretty heavily. X-Ball, more often than not, is going to be the target, so Drunk Diplomat is going to have to position pretty pristinely, trying to juke all that. We haven't even talked about Scylla ult, but we'll have to wait and see if those are connecting.
Yeah, it's a pick your poison against Aegises on the side of Team SK Peso. We're ready to jump into game number 2 between SK Peso and CaptainTwig. It's J-Mac, Trelly, and Doug here to bring you the action for game number 2. We'll see if CaptainTwig squad can pull this one back. Take us to a game 3.
You notice anything different about Twig's team? We're
Yeah,
we're missing our GOAT,
we
our
do-
11 Death Sammy.
we do see a bit of a swap out here in the roster. Now, you do get to have some subs for this team. I believe each team is allowed 2 substitutes. It seems they're using one of theirs to bring Falcon Cloud Pillow back into the game in the jungle this time and putting Elder over in the dual lane, taking over Ting Tub's spot.
That makes so much more sense why the Tsukuyomi came through, because this is something that Fluffy Cloud Pillow has played pretty consistently. He's been the jungler on this team. When they were first seed, I'm not going to say he was the sole reason they were first seed, but definitely one of the high performers on this squad. I would have never guessed Elder was taking the Tsukuyomi. So that makes a lot of sense with the switch up. We'll have to see if this changes up CaptainTwig's team dynamic. It certainly should, because again, you mentioned it, half the deaths of that first game was onto the ADC. So we'll have to consider it. And again, Twig's either soloing or getting soloed at level 2, and it seems like he got the better end of this trade for sure. Didn't do too much different with the build, just started Bluestone, which means Mulan will be able to destroy that buff quicker, get into lane faster, and then just get the better end of those trades.
Yeah, SDF sitting under the tier 1 tower, probably for a little while. Or at least maybe until he can get that Mystical Mail online and get some of that extra boxing. Up against CaptainTwig. Stun onto Drunk Diplomat. Will stand his ground for the time being. Elder is getting some decent damage. Up against SK Peso and dealing with the wave as well. Might be a little while before we see kills in duos, what I would say, but Elder just getting dove on, and the Rising Jaguar from Drunk Diplomat. Doesn't matter who you put in the lane against them, he's going to put them down. Sunprod stunned out. Good kill from Sejos. Mando, he misses the Phoenix Fire, and Sejos puts down 2. It's a double kill in mid after a first blood in duo.
CaptainTwig does get the better end of the trade so far, but a grapple may confirm the kill here. Not going to happen. Sparks flying already. Fluffy Cloud Pillow getting the better end of the trade. Already heading over to solo lane. This should be a guaranteed kill if the transform happens, and it does. Just save your 2, and Death Fang guaranteed dead here, especially if Twig steps up. I was going to say, where's he at? Almost let the trade go through, but CaptainTwig picks up the kill off of the gank. Great start for Team CaptainTwig. This is what I've been talking about, though. The whole reason that Team CaptainTwig was dominating for months on end was because of the combo. Fluffy Cloud Pillow just knows how to get pressure early.
Does just so. No kills to his name. 0-0-3. But giving 2 kills to a Scylla, 1 kill over to a Mulan. Yeah, any jungler would love to have those kills for themselves, but I'm not going to be upset with taking my normally more late game slanted Scylla and feeding her 2 kills this early in the game, especially one up against a direct lane opponent.
And that's why we're different, because I would be upset. I'm
That's
the jungler.
it. You're the selfish player. I'm the team player. When it
I'm
comes
the
to this
carry,
one.
is what I like to call it. It's a lot of passion, is what it is.
I see.
It's not selfishness. And if I do carry, then it's worth it. If I didn't, my team trolled me. It's very easy. It's a mindset switch that we're going to see. Unfortunately, Sun Prodigy, because he fell down early, wasn't able to get that ultimate. Now has it available. Keep your eyes on the wind, fire wheels, and the beads for just about everyone on the side of Team CaptainTwig. That's where the comeback would begin. Again, it's early on. The goalie doesn't matter. But kill-wise, the sparks would start flying off of that ultimate. Maybe over towards Dio. Could be the call. Seems like Sun might rotate that way, but doesn't see any easy targets. Considering how close Team CaptainTwig is to their tower line, I can see why you head back to mid.
Grapple in by CaptainTwig. Transform for Super Death Thing. Might just be what keeps him alive. Twig goes in for the knockup. Immediately immune out.
Oh, he gets
Grapple
that?
catch somebody. Got stuck on the side of the wall.
Auto
Is
one?
that enough? 3 shots. It's not there. It's not an upgraded first ability yet for CaptainTwig. So the crisscross not quite enough to land the final shot. Super Death Fang just barely lives.
Man, I can't believe he even had the reach. Like, that was a ridiculous max range grapple there from CaptainTwig. Getting the better end of this lane so far. Loves to go for that Rune Forged hammer. That is usually the pickup first for Twig. Rune Forged and a blessed breastplate has been his call. And that helps out a ton in lane. It's extra damage. He does have a lot going for him. Team CaptainTwig, you can tell how much more calculated they are. Grouping up, going for invades, following the lead of Fluffy Cloud Pillow. And remember, we used to just spectate the streams of these content creators during this cup. And the loudest one in comms by a wide margin was Fluffy Cloud Pillow. So this is a big boon to have him back for this matchup. With LAN on the line, this is exactly who you want in your jungle selection.
SK Peso rotating over mid, along with Dr. Bojo. Be a bit of a stalemate in that mid 2v2, so players going to back up, head back to their respective buff camps. You're going to see Mando going back over towards red. Take that one up for himself, and CaptainTwig really starting to nurse a strong lead here over in the solo lane. A level and a half, nearly 2 full levels up over Super Deathwing, just off of that 1 kill alone. Has made it so difficult for SDF to really stand any fighting chance up against CaptainTwig. Maybe with some help from SunProd. Never mind, CaptainTwig pops the ult and does nearly all of SunProd's health with just a couple abilities.
Looks like a dive, mate. Okay, little telegraph
little
there.
Preemptive.
Yeah, I'm a monster. A loud ability that lets everyone know that you're casting it, and there's really only one place you can cast it over the wall there, so not going to find the kill, and no dive will come through. But Drunk Diplomat does get the rock in his favor, maybe even a shield buff. Gotta think the duo lane is still somewhere that Team SK Peso wants to play through. Shield, not gonna drop. The snipe's off the mark, and low health enough. I do want to see Team SK Peso play on the left side of the map, though. I understand that Super Deathwing has been instrumental to this team's success, but you can leave him alone for a little bit. He'll be able to climb back, or at least get a little bit of farm. You do have your X-Ball, who's 1-0. I think playing on that side of the map just makes a lot more sense.
SunProd hanging out on the left side. What you doing, SunProd?
He was shopping, man.
Oh, was that the Shopster?
Yeah, Shopster was sitting by.
It's hard to tell with the aura. Normally it's a little more purple, so I couldn't fully tell.
So what do you think the blue aura was then?
I don't, dude. I've seen.
Maybe it was a Merlin ice that was sitting there.
Dude, I have seen death stamps that like people die and it leaves this giant purple circle below. I'm like, oh, cool. There's a Shopster here. Nope, that's just somebody who died.
You're buying on.
I'm buying on corpses, bro.
No way. You're playing Camasoth and you forget what the goop piles are, and you try buying some awards.
They got thrown off because it's the same color purple as the shop.
All right.
That's what threw me off, is somebody died like 10, 15 seconds before, and their little death stamp is still sitting there with the giant purple arm. I'm like, oh, cool, there's a Shopster here.
Yeah,
nope.
so the way that you can tell is if Shopster didn't drop it, it's not a shop. I hope that helps in the future for when you're trying.
That will help me out tremendously in my future games of play, Charlie.
In your future endeavors, no longer will you be worried about buying wards on corpses. 12 minutes. That's the target. That's what I'm looking for. Beacon opens up so much on the map. Maybe not so for the buff, but just because these teams do not want to give up the capture point. Elder steps forward just to get some counter wards. That's a little help from Bull Demon. We haven't talked too much about SK Peso on the Cerberus pickup because there hasn't been too much action surrounding it, but a lot of damage can come in from this Guardian. And that's what I'm paying attention to. Purple buff spawning in, so maybe we see an invade here from CaptainTwig's team. Could be a spot where some engagements fly through, and that's why SunProdigy's hovering nearby. Remember, beads available for just about everyone on the carry side of Team CaptainTwig, so you don't have an immediate target for that Windfire Wheels.
Even SK Peso rotating over just to make sure this purple can go safely over to his team. It does so. SK Peso and SunProd can somewhat leave this side of the map. There is an enemy purple buff up. The Sejos have the I'm a monster. He does! Easy read for Sejos. Takes down Mando. Notches his 3rd kill of the game. Almost forgot that he got a double kill like 7 minutes ago in the game, but now it makes it 3.
Shut off the lights. Did not matter. The I'm a monster can be homing when you know how to pilot it, and you said it 3-0. Spear of Desolation already online. That ult is chunking. Mando had ult, just decided not to use it as well. Like, I'm not saying use it there, but you can use it before. There is plenty of damage that Yu Huang has to try and deal back. I mean, look at their builds. They're essentially the same except for the conduit proc. So Mando had the ability to fight back, chose not to use it, was more so trying to survive. And especially if you're going to go into Dragonflight, like, just fly away, man. You don't have to get hit by all that burst. Unfortunate so far. But with 3-0, plenty of confirm onto this poke. I'd want to stay away if I was from Sejos, if I was anyone on the side of Team SK Peso. This is a swinging, as we just saw, and that damage is not going to fall off anytime soon. Gold Fury still available. Beacon spawning in 2 minutes, but only 5 kills on the board, which sounds weird because we've seen like 20 minutes with no kills. But all things considered, we have seen a lot of action so far in this set, and 5 kills at 10 minutes is kind of slow.
Yeah, for current meta and current pacing that we're used to, this is For sure, a slow game. Stand your ground. 1v1 of the Hunters. It's going the way of Elder. You think you can stand up to the Rami. Takes him down. Drunk Diplomat in the grave in the 1v1. Ultimate in from Fluffy Cloud Pillow, and he's going to be able to get that kill on a Super Deathfang. The role swap, the roster swap here from Team CaptainTwig is paying off.
Yeah, Drunk Diplomat in shambles. Did not expect Elder to show up and hit all of his auto attacks based off of what happened last game. Can Sunprod find him before he gets back to base? I don't think he's got the timing. Blink would have been enough, but he didn't start Blink. Man's got beads, which means the back gets off, and Elder gets to hold on to those beads for another day. Team SK Peso, they just can't find any action. Look at the gold differential as well. Climbing so high because of those invades, because of those picks over onto Super Deathfang, and controlling the Bull Demon as well. I mean, Team CaptainTwig is not leaving much farm on the table. Every bit of neutral farm, every bit of invade they can go for, they are getting away with it. And I haven't seen too many low health bars either. We just saw one kill onto Elder. That's it.
Business is being taken care of so far for Team CaptainTwig. The 4,000 gold up, the 5 kills over. The constant pressure being put onto SDF here in the solo lane, because he has been one of the shining players for this roster. You let SDF free farm, you let him get too far up ahead, he'll absolutely run lobbies on this Cucullum. The Mulan response for CaptainTwig has been working out really well for him. Going to a bit of an odd build path. Now, I didn't get a chance to dive into the builds of CaptainTwig on this pick yesterday, but Frostbound into Breastplate of Valor, and now the Renewing Talisman immediately after. It's an interesting startup here for CaptainTwig.
I mean, Twig is nothing if not someone who likes to experiment, but he has went Runeforged like 90% of Mulan games, so I wonder what came up with the switch up. He just played Osiris with Frostbound and was like, dude, I love this item, and that's fair. This item does bring tons of value if you can close gap and get onto these squishier targets, and it just guarantees you win lane if you're ahead. So maybe that's the case, right? Maybe he thought Super Deathfang would not be able to hang with the attack speed slow. SK Peso can't stand to the beacon, and it will go the way of Team CaptainTwig. I want to see a Gold Fury pulled in the next couple of minutes. Definitely before 15. Like, Team CaptainTwig has that lead where they should not have a problem, and they've got a Scylla with double flat pen and a solid 2-level lead, which means no one is outbursting I'm a Monster. It needs to happen. Tier 1 tower dropped. Bull Demon once again on clockwork for Team CaptainTwig. They're making no mistakes here, J-Mac. They are just playing like a well-oiled machine.
Right over to Bull Demon the moment it spawns. I'm not sure if they'll have enough time to kill it on its next rotation. They'd have to be like right on the ball, everybody there to kill it before it spawns back in for that Fire Giant. So the last rotation of Ward Vision and that objective for CaptainTwig's team. It's working out real well so far for CaptainTwig in the solo lane. 3 levels up over Super Deathfang. Those 2 deaths really starting to hurt for the solo laner of Team SK Peso. But where's the response elsewhere right now? I mean, we saw the lost solo 1v1 between Drunk Diplomat and Elder, so not going to get as much of a duo fight over that direction, especially now that Elder's actually opting to go into crit. Rage picked up in that 3rd slot compared to a bit more just attack speed for Drunk Diplomat. Super Deathfang might be getting kill number 3, or death number 3 on his board. Leaps away, just avoids going into the rage form as well, but man, this is just so much pressure from CaptainTwig's squad.
Yep, like I said, blue buff spawn, Fluffy Cloud Pillow is there. I mean, it's just no farm is free if you're on the side of Team SK Peso. Purple buff invaded, Sunprod was near, couldn't even step forward, wasn't going to be able to go for it. You highlighted the rage. I'm highlighting the Pyromancer. SK Peso's nearby. Will they be able to go for the steal? No. Rotating left lane. Maybe SK Peso's team can go in for something, but look how safe Elder is playing. Underneath the tower, despite being ahead, recognizes that his team's getting gold elsewhere, and they stay back. They don't step forward to get picked out. There's just not a lot of options here. And Sun Prodigy, because of this Najah pickup, has no targets. Everyone's got beads but Twig, and I'm going to let you in on a little secret. The Mulan is not going to be taking any damage from wind fire wheels at this point, so when he touches the ground, he might be healthier than when he went up. It's just not an easy target to go for. There is not much you can do if you're Team SK Peso. You sit here, you get your neutral farm, you go for steals on objectives. Or you 4-man group and dive. I mean, Elder, maybe? Like, that's probably your best target, but if he goes up in the sky, Twig could teleport over in that meantime, so it's just not easy to find a pick.
This game has been night and day difference for Team CaptainTwig. Bring Fluffy Cloud Pillow back in for the jungle role. Swapping Elder over into the duo lane. Take over Ting Tub's spot. It's made a world of difference for this team, especially just, even if you leave Elder out and you just bring Ting Tub, I mean, having Fluffy Cloud Pillow be applying as much pressure as he has just made it so much easier for CaptainTwig in the solo lane. It's made it to where Mando doesn't get to be comfortable in mid because Sejos is getting pressure at 3 and 0 right now. Beads burned away from Elder earlier. Drunk Diplomat takes the Aegis away. Fast Aegis too by Elder. That was a point-blank poison dart. Would have dropped him probably about half his HP at this point.
I mean, that was a fast Beads too. I'm gonna call it fast, but also kind of wasted. At least get the Windfire wheels down, right? Elder's just playing so safe. No reason to fear. Stepping forward, Beats down from Drunk Diplomat. Slowed autos could come through, and there's the stun. Aegis down. Snipes should be able to finish if he can grab 3. 1, 2. Oh, third off the mark.
Not quite there. SK Peso there to bail out, though. Meanwhile, Sejos and Fluffy Cloud Pillow in the backline at enemy speed buff territory.
Why not?
Zoning away. That way they can guarantee tier 1 tower over at the dual lane. Invade the purple buff. On top of that, 8,000 gold up for CaptainTwig, a 500 gold lead a minute for their team. And let's add a little bit more to their pockets. Gold Fury started, Gold Fury dropped down. CaptainTwig, this is a lot of momentum this team has got to stop on the side of SK Peso.
Yeah, this is like standing at the bottom of a mountain and like putting your arms up for a boulder to come through. Like, it's possible, but are they that jacked? That's the question. Fury down, Pyromancer dropped. We're at a point where Fire Giant is a real possibility for Team CaptainTwig. Elder already has crit online, not too much, but enough. And then I already mentioned Sejos, biggest burst on the map by a long shot. Has the Rod of Tahuti online. This still has got 2,400 gold in hand as well, so you could get a full item coming here shortly. There's just a ton of options that CaptainTwig's team has, and they don't have to worry about positioning too much because there is no fight back. There's no attempt at anyone's lives. Even with Elder's Beads and Aegis down, Sun Prodigy's on the other side of the map. He's not even going for a gank over towards duo. Just thinking about where Team SK Peso can try and go for their comeback, and I really do think it's around Fire Giant. But even that's not going to be easy. Sejos went for the blink, so no Aegis available. Does not fear the Dueling Dragons from Mando. And I haven't even seen him cast the ultimate, so I think I agree. There's nothing to fear.
Maybe someone in chat can keep us honest. I agree with you. I don't think we have seen that Dueling Dragons used. I don't think that diamond has changed ever since it's existed at this point. But at the same time, we haven't really seen a whole lot from Mando this game outside of the initial 2v2 that was a loss and then the 1v1 bout that Sejos won there. Besides those two instances, we really have not seen much from Mando on the Yu Huang. And, well, unfortunately, it got peaked there for a moment. Was reflected in the player damage as well. Saying 1,300 right now. Even Sun Prod, who's normally the impact player, the startup for this team. Sun Prod cannot get anything done on this Najah right now.
Just a Najah diff, man.
It's a Fire Giant start for CaptainTwig. Super Death Fang, level 16, trying to get in. SK Peso being zoned out by Fluffy Cloud Pillow. Fire Giant down to half HP. Priority now shifted over to Super Death Fang, who's just getting absolutely obliterated by the team. Piercing Moonlight misses every shot from Fluffy Cloud Pillow. Super Death Fang has bought some time. The Fire Giant reset, but CaptainTwig's team, they get the pick and they go right back to it.
SK Peso's nearby. You can see Drunk Diplomat on the other side of the map has the ultimate to turn off the lights if need be, but it's all up to SK Peso to go for the steal. A crush is plenty of burst here, and there will be no more steal attempt. The rest of Team SK Peso was off scounging for farm. I don't think Twig makes it here. No, he does not. The teleport not quick enough. And at the very least, Team SK Peso grabs the tier 2 tower. But still, there was no attempt at a fight. It was just a low attempt steal from Super Death Fang. Immediately reset. Team CaptainTwig is not leaving any crumbs on the table. And they have plenty of time to grab these 3 tier 2 towers. I say 3, but they may even just go in for a bird. With a lead like this, all beads available, it's just on Mando. Like, that is just it. Do you have Mando to set the tone with a big ultimate? Or does Drunk Diplomat just shred through someone? And considering he doesn't have crit, there's not really anyone he can shred through. He does good damage, but not enough to just like burst someone down in one shot. So I'm just imagining how a siege defense goes, and it is, did Dueling Dragons connect massively? If no, you're probably not winning unless you just CC the heck out of Dr. Bojo off a beautiful stun ultimate that SK Peso whips up. Those are your options, and there are few and far between.
Team CaptainTwig. 10K up. 3-2 split at the Tier 2 towers. Twig and Fluffy dealing with Tier 2 and mid. The other three tower in dual lane. Mids is gone. Will we see the continued 3-2 split? Keeping Sun Prod by themselves. CaptainTwig grapple. Hits the Phoenix. Big damage through, but a quick ult out to immune the old Super Death Fang. And Elder has already started off this fight with a kill on SK Pace on the left side. The 3v3 now forces Super Death Fang over to try and even things back out. Meanwhile, the other two of Team CaptainTwig remain in mid. Runic Bomb on top of the bird. Beads taken away from Fluffy Cloud Pillow. And the mid lane Phoenix is gone. Sun Prod looking for an angle to go for the open. CaptainTwig pulls him back in. And the damage is there. Not quite connecting from Sejos, though. Just a little shy from landing a shot. But I'm a monster. Nearly one shot drunk Diplomat. And the last 50 HP dealt by Fluffy Cloud Pillow. Sun Prod looking at the backline for any opportunity to get back to his team, but he just doesn't have that chance. He goes up into the sky with Elder, but on landing, it is death for Sun Prodigy. CaptainTwig, credit with the kill. Jump away from SK Peso. 5 slightly weakened members on the side of CaptainTwig, pushing into the Titan. It gets it down to about half HP, and they're still standing their ground. Super Deathman goes in, but it's 300 crits constantly coming from Elder and CaptainTwig to tie up the game.
We are going to a game 3 with LAN on the line. You sub back in Fluffy Cloud Pillow, and it makes all the difference. Team SK Peso had no chance. There was nowhere they could fight back. I think their picks and bans needed a little bit to be desired as well. I think going to this Naja with not enough beads burn was a very difficult ask for Sun Prodigy. He's such a hard carry style player, and Naja is a tanky setup assassin, right? Like Mando on the Yu Huang, we saw one ult, didn't even connect on that Phoenix. I think it was just maybe a little bit of feeling out this new matchup, but I didn't love where Team SK Peso went to in picks and bans. They've got a lot to think about in this break time, but with LAN on the line, I think you got to get a safer ADC. You need to get Mando on one of the mages he feels confident on, and you need to get Sun on a hard carry assassin.
We got to see the lock-in now from Team SK Peso. Great game 1, a tough game 2, and a nice bounce back for Team CaptainTwig. One final game to see who's going to go to LAN. We'll find out right after this.
Back in that, yeah. Tell them to watch it. Now I ain't talking my pockets, just know we ain't running out the way that we stock it. If I got it, you got it. If I call it, she slide and tell her to mop it. Yeah, I got that doing. Damn, she took that thing off and bring it around. Going at it till I'm on. Put that 90 in a hole, I'm beating it down. I'm back in that bag again. Whoa, whoa. Oh, say less. I'm back in that bag again. Yeah, yeah. Oh, say less. I'm back in that. Yeah. What you doing? Yeah, yeah. I'm back in that. Hey, hey, where you going? Hey, hey, back in that bag again. Don't bring me around your friends. You know that I'm bagging them. Request me on Facebook. No, I ain't adding them. Positions I had her in. Hit from the back, that was splattering. Calling her friend, tell her pull up. Word, let's make it a gathering. They loving that baby. Nah, I'm Matic now, but she loving the splash again. I just be cashing in her buns, just like a wedding. I'm crashing in. Hundreds on hundreds, I'm moving and grooving. She wanna cut up, I'ma slash again. Buckets on buckets, I'm switching edition. Back in my bag, going back again. I feel like Aladdin, yeah. I'm on the carpet, flying through orbits, ain't doing no talking. Wow. They on my body as soon as I walk and be stalking. They loving the drip, they think I'm a force, it gotta move cautious. Back in my duffel, I'm working a double like I'm in the office. Tell them to watch it, now I ain't talking my pockets, just know we ain't running out the way that we stock it. If I got it, you got it. If I call it, she slide and tell her to mop it. Yeah, I got that doing. Damn, she took that thing off and bring it around. Going at it till I'm on. Put that 90 in a hole, I'm beating it down. I'm back in that bag again. Whoa, whoa. Oh, say less. I'm back in that bag again. Yeah, yeah. Oh, say less. I'm back in that. Yeah, what you doing? Yeah, yeah, I'm back in that. Hey, hey, where you going? And you should know that we on this forever. You don't know me well, just ask again. And you should know that I'm with all the Why you sit down and just watch the film? And you should know that Khan got a bottle of Don feeling like Julio, pass it in. Mine on some M's, going in. Back in that bag where I'm going again. I'm dunking on him, just lower the rim. Free my it's all in a pen. I hit it once, I'ma hit it again. She with me, you know she a 10. She a Barbie, you know I'm a Ken. Rolling some dope and sipping some gin. It's always been nuts, it never was them. Back in my bag, they know it's a gem. Tell them to watch it, and I ain't talking my pockets. Just know we ain't running out the way that we stock it. If I got it, you got it. If I call it, she slide and tell her to mop it. Yeah, I got that doing. Then she took that thing off and bring it around. Going at it till I'm on. Put that 90 in a hole, I'm beating it down. I'm back in that bag again. Whoa, whoa. Oh, say less. I'm back in that bag again. Yeah, yeah. Oh, say less. I'm back in that. Yeah. What you doing? Yeah, yeah. I'm back in that. Hey, where you going? Hey, going.
Show me what you made of. You know what I came for. I see the real you. You should let her out that cage more. I've been playing it cool, but couldn't lie to you. You know what I'm waiting on. Waiting on. Waiting on. I don't wanna wait no more. No more, yeah. More. Who had you down for the count when you needed it? Breathe it, just got too hard on your mental. I've been around at some time to care them bills when you had them clashes. Remember, you knew me before the back. You seen the vision, you know me for showing you things. Knew how to rip it apart. You let me inside, I pick up the pieces and place them. Come treat me right, I know you excited. Know what I like already satisfied. You've been on my mind, I don't wanna hide it or fight it. Slide in the night hour. I want it right now. Wanna spend this time on you right now. Tell me, can you slide on me right now? What you want now? Can I fall through? It's on you. Your body language clear to me, but I need you to say it to me. I got a good time, been long since you had one. Been at the head down to the racks come. What you want, can you slide on me right now? Got a little something for you when you're back home. Yeah, we don't need to talk, your body on me, already saying a lot. You been on edge, you really doing the most. I've been on plays, I'm done being a ghost to you. Sometimes I get tested, these hoes on the play, but I keep it together. You know that you get what you want when you selfish. I pick you up, you can slash in the back. As long as you tell me it's mine, I'm possessed. I know how you like it, I'm all in your head. I'm embedded in your bed, let's till we crash the connection. I got a thing for you. The way that you do, make it hard to go out of range from you. You know what time it is. I'm on your line again. Pull up in 5, I throw you the vibe. You show me the things I miss.
Well, it's game number 3 here in our bronze match, our elimination on the line between CaptainTwig and Team SK Peso, J-Mac and Trelly, here to break down game number 2, which really doesn't feel like it's too much to really break down. This just felt like the one roster swap that popped in here, subbing out Ting Tub, moving Elder over to ADC, and then bringing Fluffy Cloud Pillow back in for CaptainTwig's squad was a night and day difference from game 1 into game 2.
I mean, you got to remember, number 1, Fluffy Cloud Pillow has been the jungler for this squad for months. Number 2, Elder looks a lot more comfortable in ADC. Number 3, the drafter Team SK Peso was just rough in general. There wasn't a lot that Sun Prodigy could do to try and set up for his team because no one was pulling beads, so it was either Sun was getting them himself, which as a Naja is rough because if you're sashing in, you're in. You're not able to escape too easily. And then they just didn't have any winning lane. Super Death Fang was heavily dealt with because of how much pressure was put on Solo. I don't think he got a blue buff after the first spawn, so farm across the map was a big issue, and that's how Fluffy Cloudpillow likes to play. Over towards Twig, Bull Demon, blue buff, Shaman Camp invade, that sort of rotation path seemed very hard to try and deal with.
And every single Bull Demon going the way of CaptainTwig's squad there because of those rotations. And going back to this Cucullin, it's something that Super Deathfang went with a lot during the first matchup of the weekend. Worked really well in one game for him, a little bit tougher in game number 2, and has now been dealt with sufficiently by CaptainTwig on this Mulan. So if we see Super Deathfang go back to this Cucullin, I think that the Mulan's just got to go. CaptainTwig said, okay, cool, you're going to take my Osiris, you're going to take my Amaterasu. Big whoop-de-doo. I'm just going to grab the Mulan. I'm going to absolutely own and dual lane when Fluffy Cloud Pillow pops over, and we guarantee that kill over into the solo lane. I mean, it's a great start over for SK Peso and them in the dual lane, but then immediately you see the double kill over in mid, funnels into Super Deathfang falling down over in the solo lane. It just started getting out of hand very fast for CaptainTwig's squad.
Yeah, we didn't mention Mando looked a little bit lost on the Yu Huang. Didn't see any ults connect. There was a solo kill in mid as well versus Sehost, who just hit the I'm a Monster blind with Drunk Diplomat's ultimate and was still able to find the, it's not a one shot, but they just get the ult reset there. So I think just a lot to be desired there. Complete mindset switch up. I want to see, I already called for this before the break, but I want to see Sun Prodigy on a hard carry. Doesn't necessarily have to be an assassin. Maman Brigitte still could be an option. That's a pick that he likes to go to, but something in the jungle that, number one, doesn't require his team to follow up on, and number two, where he can just get active, hide out in the jungle, look for solo kills, because I still think Sun Prodigy has the ability to just hard carry the game away if given the right position. Because when you see your solo laner falling behind, when Super Deathfang is getting camped, you have two options. One, you go to the blue buff, you try and fight, or two, you go to duo lane and try and play through Drunk Diplomat. That was attempted. There was one shot at getting Elder's beads, getting his life, but Naja just can't finish that kill by himself. There are other options available, so we'll have to see if Team SK Peso tries to use them.
Now we'll see who gets drafted up for the final picks and bans of the qualifying stages here for LAN between Team SK Peso and Team CaptainTwig. Throw the best of 3 out the window. We're down to a single game left now for these two teams to see who's going to be the third and final NA team to make it to LAN and join over with Davey on the EMEA side, as well as Caustic and Rudy, who have already qualified here from North America. First ban, no surprise, Chunga taken off the table by Team SK Peso. And I think kind of mirroring a little bit about what you were talking with Sun Prod, maybe also finding a god, maybe whether it be an assassin, a warrior, whatever he goes with, that isn't so heavily reliant on being able to burn the beads to get the damage. I mean, you beads the sash, okay, well, there's no damage coming from the sash, and they're probably not going to get the ultimate afterwards. It just felt like such a weird pick for Sun Prodigy, seeing what he has played multiple times in the past. I mean, the Serket is the one that immediately comes to mind, the Maman Brigitte. And you could say, yeah, Serket's also a bit beads reliant, but if you hit Deathbane on one person, they're probably just dying once you get some crit online.
Yeah, I mean, there's just better options available. We'll have to see exactly what is on the forefront of Team SK Peso's mind. You can also hold your pick for a while. It's not as if junglers were so heavily contested that like the Robin was banned away, but that was really it. And remember, CaptainTwig yesterday would never go away from anything that wasn't Ama. Last time, Ama wasn't banned away until the second phase of bans, and then goes to the Mulan. So CaptainTwig at the very least has Mulan, Osiris, Ama, Wukong. Like that, there is still more picks to go to if you are Twig. Terra, Kama, Chang'e, all taken away. Medusa, of course, E-Shell. Leaves open, finally, the Fafnir. This is a pickup that's been banned away from SK Peso twice now. Will be able to pick it up. What does Team CaptainTwig go to? I mean, honestly, considering what I just saw, I would have no problem going back to the Scylla, and it looks like they're going to hover it right away. No deaths, was able to start Blink. There's not a lot I can take from game number 2 as negatives for Team CaptainTwig, so if they ran back everything that was available, I wouldn't have any problems with it.
Yeah, just run the exact same 5 if you have the opportunity to do so, but maybe also depending on what the rest of Team SK Peso drafts up. Fafnir doesn't really reveal a whole lot for this composition. You know they're going to be great around objectives. You know you're going to be looking for some single target picks, that dragon form as well. It's going to be very potent for Team SK Peso, but it will be Scylla. Drafted up one more time for CaptainTwig and his team.
There's 2.
And then the Rom. So you got 2 of the carries redrafted now for Team CaptainTwig. And maybe the downside of playing the Fafnir into this comp immediately already is that as long as Sehost holds that Sikkim, as soon as this Fafnir transforms into dragon form, he's going to land into Sikkim, Crush, I'm a Monster, the whole bread and butter of the Scylla.
That is true, but you got to remember,
Time has come.
Robin is still available. A pickup that doesn't care about I'm a Monster as long as you have overhead kick available. And something that Sun Prodigy has been liking to go to. Just has a fantastic matchup into both of these characters. Rama also gets ran down very easily. Just being able to blink and then hold Mystic Rush to chase down after your dash or after you just use that Sentinel is a great option. So I love that pickup for Team SK Peso. And they didn't immediately grab the Kakolin either, which I think is a good switch up. That is a god I would have never picked into Scylla.
Wow.
The freest target I could imagine. I can't think of a worse match. Maybe Anubis. Like as
Yeah.
far as like while you're casting Tycho drums, you're gonna get hit by every Scylla ult. I don't think it could have gotten worse for a mid matchup, but play around it, I suppose. There's always an option.
We'll see where Team CaptainTwig goes for their final pick before the second wave of bans. They've got their carries. Do they want to draft up their support now? Do they want to maybe get Fluffy Cloud Pillow his next pick?
Probably.
Want to go back to the Tsukuyomi? Does he want to change things up?
I've only seen him play like Suki and Kama recently, so I think you got to grab it here, because if not, it's 100% getting banned away.
Yeah, I don't think he gets that Tsukuyomi if it doesn't get drafted now, but maybe what else is in the deck here for him? Doesn't matter.
I'm
Who
trying
cares?
to remember. I only remember him playing Kama and Suki now, and we've watched him a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna say, who cares now? He already got the Tsukuyomi, so there's no need to speculate what else he may have in the
We'll
back
never
pocket.
know. This is the last time. Yeah, this is game 3. You're right.
But now, what do you give away if you're Team SK Peso? What do you got to ban from Team CaptainTwig? I think you just ban the Mulan for safety. I mean, CaptainTwig
Mulan
got
Osiris.
such good priority. Maybe you do the Amma just in case and leave the Osiris, but
But the Osiris already
Osiris.
looked good. Yeah, you're right. Okay, Amma doesn't run through early, though. So, yeah, I say Mulan Osiris here. That's what I would go.
Okay.
And that does force Twig into either the Osiris or the Amma, which, again, not early game, or the Wukong, which can be dealt with as well. So I think that's a good call. Uller, Heimdall, banned away.
that's a
from-
Hachi.
That's what I said.
Yeah,
Yeah, same thing.
same guy. They both start with an H.
Yep, banned away. I appreciate you keeping me honest, J-Mac. Safety, that's what Hachi provides. I haven't seen Hachi in such a long time, so
Almost forgot about him.
Yep.
This new meta, I'm just like, Hachi who?
yeah, he's got a horse, but won't be able to see it this time
Or
around.
like Hoochie man?
The Kepri, they're just letting Twig go back to. They're making Twig's job so easy. He never has to think about his picks. Like bro's like, I have my 4 gods, and I will only pick those 4 gods, and they will never make my job hard.
There's also 4 Hunter bans on the side of Team CaptainTwig. Only standout there is the E-Shell, banned away from mid at this point. Otherwise, putting a lot of focus over towards Drunk
What
Diplomat.
a surprise Pikachu!
What have you ever...
Look at this face. I'm shocked.
Pull it to the single.
That's me when Twig picks Amma. What the heck?
I would have never seen that coming, Trelly. That's just so wild that you ban away the Mulan and he goes to Amaterasu. Probably not a whole lot to really dive in on this one. Amma going to be able to do just fine over in the lane, scale towards that late game a little bit more. It's what is the answer now for Team SK Peso? How do you respond to the Amaterasu, to what has already been drafted for Team CaptainTwig? Looks like at the moment,
Ooh.
Kuzenbo as a hover. Now, we've seen 2 different kinds of Kuzenbo solos. We've seen the Conduit Kuzenbo, where you get a lot of damage, you just try and frag them immediately. We've seen the Sigil Kuzenbo just before this 9.5 kind of popped up to just be really tanky. You're just going to try and live until the late game. Given the state of SMITE now, what is kind of your preference of seeing this Kuzenbo for Team SK Peso?
I mean, Sigil Kuzenbo is definitely an option. It's just a little bit harder to clear waves early, and your MP5 sort of hurts. But you can go like Tier 1 Manticore spikes for the MP5. I'm assuming this is solo, by the way. Probably fair now that we see the Chernobog locked in. So that is definitely an option. If you get late game, this Kuzenbo is an absolute menace. Can just own everyone. If you get level 20 Sigil Kuzenbo online, and the game is not yet over, it just might be. The only issue about throwing him into solo is you want to get teleport. Like, Scorching Blink Thorns, Sigil, late game Kuzenbo has very little fears in life. Like, bro gets to do whatever he wants. So, unfortunately, in solo, you're going to get teleport. So you're either restricted to either the Thorns or the Blink. Both are good options. But I'm just thinking about the die that Team CaptainTwig has here with the Tsukuyomi, the Amaterasu, and then again, the Ram and the Scylla from behind. They have a lot of range here. Honestly, besides the Raijin, I like a lot of what Team SK Peso has done. They've got global presence with the Chernobog. They've got split push. This Robin doesn't care about Scylla too much. They got double Guardian dive. If it wasn't for how much I think this Raijin's a sitting duck just in a team fight, I'm favoring 4 out of 5 picks there.
Team SK Peso are going to have to play careful around their mid laner. Is this the pick that Mando needs to get comfortable, to be able to lock in with the rest of the team and try and get Team SK Peso to the LAN? Is this draft for CaptainTwig's team enough to be able to drive them forward? Amaterasu Ganesh is the swap up here for their late game drafting selections. Ama now for CaptainTwig, Ganesh going over into that support role for Dr. Bojo. We'll have to see the adaptation there. All I'm going to say is, looking at what Team CaptainTwig has drafted up, this is going to be potentially a miserable time for SK Peso if he ever transforms with any 2 members of this team standing around him. I mean, you transform into Scylla, Sick'em Crush, or it's just Sick'em, I'm a monster. You do that with a Ganesh nearby, you're getting a Dharmic Pillar dropped at your feet, followed by a dash and a silence. This is going to be a miserable time for SK Peso if he doesn't get ahead.
Yeah, and there's not many options either. Like, you can go like a Mantle of Discord or like a Beads, and those are your 2 options to not just get owned every time you ult. And you're right, both of those suck, because one of them is the most expensive defense item in the game, and the other one is Beads. And you usually want a little bit of more survivability baked into the kit. The thing about Team CaptainTwig, though, is their team isn't very tanky. It could be an easy dive if they're just going on a Tsukuyomi. If one of those ults is misused, then Tsukuyomi's just dead weight, and you can kind of just get a pick off him. I like the Double Guardian. I like the Robin. The Chernobog, again, you're not playing for 1v1s too often, so should be able to just get safe farm. And again, if you're not getting I'm a Monster, Raijin still has plenty of damage in a meta like this. It's just, if Seiho saves the ultimate for Taiko Drums, you're never missing. It's this big, immobile, very slow-moving target. It just makes the Raijin so much more difficult. But if it's not for that one interaction, I think Team SK Peso has a really sick team fight.
We'll have to see. This draft is enough for Team SK Peso, or is CaptainTwig's team going to find their comeback from an 0-1 down to bring it back in 2-1? We've gone the full distance every single set this weekend. It would only make sense that in our qualification 1-2 LAN, it would also go the full 3. It is game number 3 now for Team SK Peso and Team CaptainTwig. Winner goes to LAN. Loser's run ends here in the SCCC. It's J-Mac, Trelly, and Doug one final time for the qualifier stage to see which team we're pushing on to come join us in the LAN. The battle for charity, the tour around the studio, the additional loot and goodies, the charity donation, and the opportunity to play here in our studio. Make some noise in chat for your favorite team out there, your Team SK Peso, your Team CaptainTwig. We'll find out here in game number 3 which one of them will prevail.
Already? Nothing too surprising so far. I do like the start from Super Deathring. That's what I called out. Just tier 1 earring for the MP5, and then the sigil. Does give you a bit of a slow early, but eventually you'll get online, and when you do, that's when you really start cooking. Horrific emblem for SK Peso. If they start to get aggressive early, there's a little bit of kill potential. It's not as if Ganesh and Rama are going to be finding too much action early on. In fact, both of these duo lanes are kind of just going to chill. But, question is, do Fuffy Cloud Pillow or Sun Prodigy feel as if dual lane is a place they want to go? More often than not, it's been solo. That right side of your map has been where these junglers try and fight. That's probably where I'll be looking, at least once that cooldown buff spawns in. There's plenty to be had there. Horrific popped, shell down, so supports just trade relics, but carries hold on to their beads, and that's what's important.
Yeah, not going to lose out on their defensive relics for the squishier members of the team. Elder, though, having to use quite a bit of his potions just to re-sustain back up.
Beads down?
Especially with the damage that's being thrown out by SK Peso and
he's dead.
Diplomat. Beads are gone. If he steps forward to this lane, Sun Prod is just going to go for the gank. Might not even need to step all the way in. Gets spotted out in the back. Blink is there. Slow root off of the roll, and Sun Prodigy comes up. First blood for Team SK Peso.
All right, so here's my question. You used beads, you dashed. Your team said, hey, that's weird. I, a Scylla and a Tsukuyomi, don't see the Robin. Where could he be? You know, like, there's only one place he could be. This happens in every ranked game I've ever played. I ping enemy missing, and bro still walks up just enough to fall down there. Unfortunate play, definitely could have been avoided, but now Elder's beats are down, and you have a very clear target. Sun Prodigy comes out swinging, and despite in game number 1, actually gets credit for this kill. Instead of giving all the kills to his team, he gets to pick it up, and that's what you want. You want Sun to get the last hits on these kills because he can do a lot with very little. I hope this Robin continues to get active, not necessarily in duo, just wherever. The Robin with a lead can do no wrong, essentially.
And off to a much better start for Team SK Peso now. Game number 2, they got first blood, but then had 3 immediate deaths afterward. I may have just cursed them for a moment there. Sunprod shows up, misses the root onto CaptainTwig, gets the slow onto Fluffy Cloud Pillow. We do have the 2v2 in solo lane. Super Deathfang falling a bit low. Does he have access to his cooldowns? He's getting tagged by some good chip damage out of Fluffy Cloud Pillow. So SDF gonna sit back for a little while. Gonna have to give up this meteor, give up this totem, and just play a little bit safer while these two on the side of CaptainTwig's team are still remaining in the solo lane.
2v2, not a bad look so far. Remember, purple buff spawns in here shortly, and with a lead over in duo, Drunk Diplomat and SK Peso could try and steal away purple. They at least have the information that Fluffy Cloud Pillow's on the right side of the map because that blue Shaman camp is about to drop. Boom. Now everyone knows there's a Tsukuyomi there. There is no fear of a jungler rotating, but they don't feel like going in for the invade. They want to play this one safe. And if anything, CaptainTwig's going for a solo invade. Doesn't get it, but does siege forward. He recognizes that there's nothing Super Deathfang can do early on. Like, this Kuzumbo scales like crazy, but starts off at this point not very powerful. Just barely makes it away with the blue buff. But that's a win for Team SK Peso. I'm telling you, the longer this Kuzumbo takes to cook, the more impact he will have late game if he doesn't fall too far behind.
Tickled his tailbone there.
He has a tail, right?
Pretty sure Kuzumbo's got a tail.
Yeah, he's got a nubby little tail. He's a turtle.
It's not much of a tail. Yeah, he's got a tail. Just grazed right by it with that last little stun.
Oh.
Almost. CaptainTwig, oh, he misses the mirror. That would have been the killing blow. It would have been a great return fire for Team CaptainTwig. Unsuccessful on the invade earlier. Getting a kill would have been so great for them, but it does send this Kuzumbo back to base, and that is 3 minutes still without that teleport, considering that SDF just got back to the lane with his teleport, tier 1 on defense. That'll be a long walk back for the Kappa.
Yeah, he's got Sumo Slam. He should be able to get close enough, and the wave is just starting to die to tower, so he may miss the melees, but the archers are sitting right there for him. Look at this build from Twig, though. Man went heavy hammer, and then said immediately into some magical defense. So interesting now that tier 2s have passives like that. You can get some value from just holding an item at tier 2 and not having to worry about going for the full option. I believe it's 4 auto attacks for a slow as opposed to your traditional frostbound effect. I think that's, yeah, 4 stacks that slows the enemy. So yeah, 4 auto attacks and then the slow. But you get to save some gold. So you get that heavy hammer effect without actually having to invest in the full frostbound. And Twig always one to play it smart, just trying to get the most of his gold. And he's going to be able to get the most of it because he's going to get the majority of it on this side of the map. Super Deathfang just does not quite have the ability, damage, and spam to get good farm.
Sunprod, after getting that first kill, it's been a little quiet. Went over to his solo lane just to bail out his solo laner, SDF, a little bit. When we saw Fluffy Cloud Pillow make that rotation over. Thunder Crash out by Mando. Keeps him safe in the mid lane. I want to see these junglers maybe get a bit more involved. We see Fluffy Cloud Pillow rotating over towards blue. That's about to respawn in. It'll be a 2v1. SDF pushed away from here. And unless he can get a really good time near Kappa, which he will not, it'll be a blue buff going the way of Team CaptainTwig. And right on cue, Bull Demon pops out of the flowing lava wall, and that should be another objective going towards CaptainTwig's team. Got every single one of them last game, and that little bit of extra gold that you get from each one really starts to stack up when you're getting 4 or 5 of those per game.
Yeah, and Sun Prodigy started Eye of the Jungle, so even though the invade does come through, Elder will be able to counter the ward coverage when these buffs go down because his team is constantly getting Bull Demon. That's at least a little bit of a help. You're missing the XP, which is unfortunate, but that extra gold does certainly help out. Looks like just an ult for ult trade over in solo lane. Super Deathfang, again, has 2 tier 1s to his name, so does not want to try to fight into CaptainTwig at this moment. But this is what I'm talking about. Sun Prodigy made the immediate choice to leave Super Deathfang on an island, but But now, because that ultimate is down, has the ability to go for a gank. Even with the dash, would not be safe. Twig doesn't have the mana currently, and Mystic Rush isn't even necessary. Sun gets the second kill of the game, puts that one in his pocket. I was going to say, look towards duo lane, right? Elder is in a rough spot. He's getting invaded, but he already did. Those buffs are gone. And with Amaterasu using that ultimate, that's easy pickings for the Robin. Great start for Team SK Peso.
And a much needed gank over in that solo lane as well. Just for how far back, and how far down I should say, SDF was. Level 7 to level 9 it was before that gank happens. Now level 8 for SDF, so still a little bit behind CaptainTwig because of those invades that Twig and Pillow have been running towards that blue buff. But Sunprod isn't done. He's going right back over again. Ultimate is not back up for CaptainTwig just yet. If you want to get the kill, now's the time to strike. Goes right over to the totem, gets the slow, gets the root as well. Elder being chased out by Drunk Diplomat. CaptainTwig just waiting for that ult to come back up, waiting for an opportunity to dash out, but maybe with Fluffy Cloud Pillow, they can try and turn this one back. Watery Grave, not quite enough. Sunprod immunes the stun afterwards, but will go down to the damage of Fluffy Cloud Pillow right at the tier 1 tower. Can SDF get enough return? Damage is out of mana. Needs some help from SK Peso to show up. Drunk Diplomat does get a kill on Elder. Stun is good. Beads used, and now it's the backup from Dr. Bojo. Keeps Fluffy Cloud Pillow alive. A 2-for-1 trade over on this side of the map. CaptainTwig down, Elder losing his life as well.
I was going to say, Jumpin' Dragon wouldn't be enough, so what's SK Peso chasing for? Just seeing if he's going to get a lazy back or something along those lines. Great kill over into duo lane, though. Drunk Diplomat trying to invade the purple buff. Should not have enough time to do so, and if you look, has beats available. Dr. Bojo and Elder zooming in. They will get the buff, and they're out scot-free. Wow, I really thought Dr. Bojo and Elder could collapse there, but not enough time. Well played. Drunk Diplomat gets all the farm and the kill to boot. Man, Team SK Peso really came out swinging here. Still down in gold, though. This goes to show how important last hits are. CaptainTwig getting the better end of the trades over in solo lane, just clearing the buffs faster. But Elder, yeah, there's no way he gets out of here.
Nah, it's 3 surrounding him. Go for some snipes.
What's this all about? You guys going to gold?
SK Peso, they missed the stun. Prod's got the damage to follow up, though.
They have to be going to gold.
We'll be fine.
That's the only reason you drag in there.
But can't you even go to gold at this point? I mean, your Hunter went back, doesn't have ultimate. Your purple buff was being invaded, and your mid laner is getting collapsed on 2v1 under his own tier 1 tower. There does not appear to be a gold fury in the minds of SK Peso. Just a transform, try and get the kill. Doesn't quite work out. They still get the kill. But nothing beyond there, Trelly.
I'm guessing it was an opportunity until they saw that Fluffy Cloud Pillow was in the purple buff, and then they, opted to go. Yeah, just not a fun matchup. Unfortunately, Mando lives the first dive using beads. The second one does not matter. You can't Thunder Crash and sick him. You can't ult with I'm a Monster up, and the Raijin falls down for the second time this game. And now Seos gets Blink. I wouldn't be surprised if we see one more attempt on Mando's life. Go back to base, pick up Blink, and try to go in the next 30 seconds. Wouldn't be easy, but is possible if Seos can go back.
Drunk Diplomat getting that tower over on the left side. Means that maybe pushing the farm, maybe not the most ideal for him, just because Elder can sit there, hold that wave a little bit further down the way.
Wait, that's a joke.
No, if it's what I'm thinking.
What else would it be, J-Mac?
Yeah, the 80 damage Raijin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that, and I wasn't going to say anything about it because I wanted to see how much longer he took to cook, but we are 10 minutes in the game with 80 damage on your mid laner.
How did he get dove under tower, lose beads, and then dove again and only did 80? Is that one auto attack?
That's 2 autos at this point. Right now it's probably 1 auto, but before it was 2. Maybe he can get some player damage here. I don't think he got a single person with that. Tycho Drums will start stacking some up and get a kill for Mando. But Sejos returns
there we go.
with a kill on the Sun.
Oh, he's cooking now.
Now he's getting the damage online. Drunk Diplomat. Credit for the kill. Mando from 80 to 1,400. Will be able to notch up some damage for himself and a kill on the board.
See, and Sejos went for Sun Prodigy there, and of course it was the more worthwhile kill. You're getting some shutdown goal and things of that nature, but when Raijin is left to free cast, that's when you see the value of this pick come through. Big damage there for Mando, finally on the board, and gets some farm under his belt. That's going to be a nice trade. Team SK Peso still trailing behind in gold, but they're able to find action when it comes through. If there was a target I'd want to kill, though, it would definitely be the 3-0 Syl that's level 14. You don't want to give Sejos the fast track to late game. it's just not easy to chase him down. Sun has to blink in, threaten with damage, Mystic Rush to chase down, and then have follow-up, which in this case would have to be like Drunk Diplomat ulting in, which doesn't seem like it's going to be able to happen here, but just that exactly is about to happen here. SK Peso, will he be the follow-up? Nope, Sun's got it. He's fine.
Seho's down. A shutdown kill on the Scylla at that. Was 3-0, now sitting 3-1 in the mid lane. Mando, not necessary for that kill at all. That one all goes over to SK Peso and Sun Prod for closing that one out. Starting up the beacon as well for Team SK Peso. Meanwhile, CaptainTwig squad will head over to the Bull Demon. Don't think that Super Death Fang has much of an angle to try and steal that one away, but distracting the team while Gold Fury is started up. Are the snipes good? Not quite. A bit early on the side of Elder to try and steal that one away, but now CaptainTwig is rotated over. Drunk Diplomat in the wall. Dashes away. It's a Fury for Team SK Peso.
You got to learn the Rama tech when going for snipes, and you can use this one at home. You want to ult, fire the first snipe towards your base. As far away as possible, don't let them know it's coming. Save the second and the third one to go in for the steal, and Super Death Fang! What's going on, Fluffy Cloud Pillow? You just trying to steal some farm and end up getting soloed. Do not want to be sticking around that long over in solo lane. This Guzenbo is heating up.
Got double Fizz Prot, not much that old Fluffy Cloud Pillow can do, and this might even be a tier 1 tower on the right side. CaptainTwig trying to defend as SDF throws out the Kappa just to soak up some damage and keep CaptainTwig away. Tier 1 tower now knocked away on both side lanes of Team CaptainTwig. Go ahead and throw an extra little bit of a totem in there to bolster up the rest of the team. We're sitting nearly 2,000 up now for Team SK Peso. This is a much stronger game for them here in game number 3, because it was looking dire for a moment there at the end of game 2.
Certainly was. There is a Pyromancer spawning in here shortly, and that is definitely what Team SK Peso would love to go for. Remember, Super Death Thing, I already called it. Man's on a timer. This Kuzenbo can absolutely destroy a team fight if given a little bit of space. We just saw what happens to a Tsukuyomi that went Jotuns into Soul Eater. Not enough damage, not enough survivability to try and hang in that matchup. But the Pyromancer is the target. Sehost is still the most farmed on the map, even with that death onto Scylla. It is not as if he's not the most burst damage available to any given player at the moment. And look at Drunk Diplomat just stepping up. See a bit of a dragon transformation here. SK Peso's by himself, though.
Will walk up, gets hit by the Dharmic Pillar, and that'll stop any trying assault on top of that Pyromancer. Goes the way of Team CaptainTwig, next to secure by Sehost. Team CaptainTwig quick to pull back from that fight, but SK Peso still in the dragon form, grouping up with the team. Looks like they want to go for a siege in mid, but without their Chernobog, maybe a little bit tougher to do so. CaptainTwig goes in aggressively. You see Mano's already Thunder Crashed out. Gonna try and get some more damage, but a quick dash away from Dr. Bojo pulls the Raiju away. And Trelly, riddle me this. Is the gold investment from Fluffy Cloud Pillow worth it to get the Glyph of Jotuns this early in the game?
I mean, it can get you out of some trouble. It seems like trying to sustain through the fights is the call, but Divine Ruin, Brawler's Beatstick already picked up for Team SK Peso. It's not as if investing this much into healing is that worth it. I think it's more so the fact that the stats on Soul Eater just get amplified by the Jotun's Vigor, and the movement speed can help you get out of trouble. So, do I think it was worth it? Sometimes. It really depends on the situation. If you get out once with the movement speed, then yeah, you're just going to call it worth it.
Super Death Thing. Boxing up against CaptainTwig. Pops his shell spikes. Pushes Twig back through his wave. That's 2 rotations of abilities, by the way. Half health on CaptainTwig. Sun Prod here. Blinks in. Finds the root. Finds the slow. Watery Grave. Not enough damage, but now Drunk Diplomat is here. Gets the root and a couple more in-hands after it's Sun Prod for the kill. Gets the root onto Dr. Bojo. Might just go down here to the 3. Kill for Drunk Diplomat. 3-0-6. A killing spree now for the Hunter of Team SK Peso.
Fire?
And maybe...
Then they're going gold.
Maybe an eye towards fire for a moment, but a bit early. Not much of a massive lead comparatively. So we'll see Team SK Peso head over left side instead.
Yeah, you got to always watch out for the Blink Scylla. I think that was the call, right? Primal Fury spawning in. You got pressure, you got 2 picks, but there is a Blink Scylla that could be close by. So going for the Primal Fury. Again, Elder could go in for the snipes, but it seems like not close enough to even want to, and not even close enough to go for it, because it's already done. Team SK Peso will grab that Primal Fury, put the gold lead even heavier in their favor for the time being. I don't think that Fluffy Cloud Pillow recognizes that there is a turtle near him, and Drunk Diplomat doesn't have the ult to join. But this could be disastrous if anyone else showed up. Good thing Team's CaptainTwig, the rest of the squad, was close by, just to make sure the Tsukuyomi got out of trouble. They're just trying to farm, man. That's what they want. Team CaptainTwig, they know their late game's solid. They've got a Scylla, they've got a Rama, they've got a Tsukuyomi. Fighting right now doesn't seem like the best idea.
But for Seihos on the Scylla, going Blink means no access to damage immunity now for the Scylla. Can't pick up the Aegis because he went for the Blink and the beads. We'll see if this is something that comes back to bite Seihos a little bit later in the game.
I never get Blink on 2 characters, J-Mac. 3, actually. Chang'e, Scylla, and Janice. You have too much. You got an immunity on Chang'e, and you have too much movement on Scylla and Janice. Just position fine. You don't need it. It's useless. Terrible relic pickup.
Fair enough. We'll see if it works for Seihos.
There is sometimes when you want it, but
I mean, when
don't tell anyone.
look, when you're fighting a Raven,
right? But just like stay away from that guy. You know, if he blinks on you, you dash away. You blink away, you ult away.
Yeah,
you don't want that guy.
yeah, you got a good point. Just blink there, blink. It's that easy.
Yeah.
That simple.
Finally,
Just go for the blink.
Someone gets me.
You know what? You know what, Charlie? After all these years, I'm finally understanding you.
What? This is the first time? I've worked here for 2 years now.
Nah, I've understood you for a while.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Bojo caught in the middle of 3. Just doesn't have a path to dash out. Stuck inside of his own Dharmic Pillars, transformed by SK Peso. Taiko Drums, a couple beats of those from Mando go towards Fluffy Cloud Pillow. And it's SDF walking up forward towards CaptainTwig and the rest of the team. And he's being slowed down by these Frostbound procs. While the rest of the team goes for Pyromancer. That one's secured for Team SK Peso. I'm a monster used. And now Seihos has to use the beads to get away. 1 bit of damage, who keeps him in combat. He can't blink away when there's too many people going right on top. Mando knocks him down with the help of the rest of the team. That's 2 dead for the side of CaptainTwig. This tier 2 tower could be a threat, is what I'd say if the minion wave was there, but minion wave be damned, they're still going to go for it. CaptainTwig and now Fluffy Cloud Pillow here. Fluffy Cloud Pillow does have the ultimate and will use it immediately on top of Sun Prod. Takes him down, tries to go for the stun, lands on top of Mando, and a stun from SK Peso hits CaptainTwig instead. Mando goes down, steps on 1 too many Caltrops, and now SK Peso being chased out. But that tier 1 tower is going to start doing some damage, stacking up on Twig.
Yeah, a lot of Team CaptainTwig is just trying to prioritize farm there. That's where Fluffy Cloud Pillow was. That's where Elder was during that engagement. But the Tsukuyomi does find the rotation in and gets a beautiful ultimate and good damage just to confirm the kills on the Sun Prod and Mando. And, of course, Drunk Diplomat with the Aegis. Fire Giant started up. This is a nightmare to go for with a full health Kuzumbo nearby. If I'm Super Death Fang, I'm running at this man on your screen. Elder is going to have to watch out. Even with this much HP, it is a menace to try and do FG in the face of a Kuzumbo.
Ring of Fire is doing a lot of damage back to the Kuzumbo, though. Dharmic Pillars used offensively to try and keep him out of it. CaptainTwig goes for the ult, lands on top of only SK Peso. Fire Giant has not been taken just yet. Drunk Diplomat trying to get damage from the outside of the ring. It's Team CaptainTwig with the Fire Giant, but Twig himself is falling low. Drunk Diplomat used the wall for safety, and SK Peso doesn't get the same luxury. It's Elder with 1, piercing Moonlight to the back line. It's Drunk Diplomat low. Fluffy Cloud Pillar gets the Aegis, and Elder gets the double kill, but it's the Taiko Drums to keep them both pushed away with those fear beats. Team SK Peso lose 2 and fire on all 5 of CaptainTwig.
Yeah, Seihos goes around, finds some good damage. Tier 1 tower is the target, and there's a Blink Scylla in your red buff. Running away, Sun Prod finds some good damage, but you have to back up. The chase down is here. Prodigy goes over the wall. Looks like he does not have the damage to find a kill, but all the way stuck in the tier 2 tower is Super Death Fang. Does he have the damage to kill Seihos? Looks like no, and he's fallen down.
In the worst way imaginable, trying to get your ultimate off, but you just can't, because who else but Dr. Bojo there to stand menacingly with a silence channeled right into him. Big stun on top of CaptainTwig. Use the ult to get out of Phoenix. It goes down. Meanwhile, it's SK Peso trying to get some damage. Dies to Seihos, but trades out his life to get down Fluffy Cloud Pillow. But Team CaptainTwig, they got exactly what they need. A couple of picks and a mid lane Phoenix. they can retreat, head right back to base, and spin up their gold.
Yeah, balancing on a knife's edge this game. So far, CaptainTwig's team gets the pick at the overstay at a Tier 2 tower, translate that into a Fire Giant, and now a mid-Phoenix. Twig doesn't have the ultimate, but isn't going to need it to get out of trouble so far. But that Fury, that Oni Fury, will certainly help out if the birds are your target. And Team CaptainTwig wants to get at least one more. They've got time for it. And they have the Fire Giant buff on 4 still. Fluffy Cloud Billow's okay with dying. I think in this meta, Tsukuyomi will be trading out his life more often than not in an even state, especially if he's ulting in. But the damage will outweigh the negatives in this case. With those enhanced minion waves, though, there's going to be enhanced fire minions pushing up mid, so someone on Team SK Peso has to deal with those once the Titan gets involved. And that left lane should be where they put the majority of their pressure. Maybe you grab a Pyromancer, grab a Runic Bomb, and then go in for the last Tier 2s. Plenty of time to do so. What can happen in the meantime, though? What power spikes are we close to? Mando picked up alternate timeline. That's going to help. If you get still ulted, you won't give the reset, and you won't die. Drunk Diplomat is level 20. Has a fully stacked Rage at that. But no starter item just yet. Super Death Fang is going to be in some trouble here. Seihost on the way. Blink down to force out the ultimate, but they're going to chase this one.
Piercing Moonlight used most of the damage into the shield. I'm a monster off the mark, but slow after CC just keeps hitting SDF. Seihost, credit for the last hit. A lot of damage from Fluffy Cloud Pillar to set that one up. And now without a solo laner for 40 seconds, Team SK Peso are going to depend on their captain to be the lone frontline for their squad against a full 5 strong from Team CaptainTwig. The mid lane Phoenix already gone. Working on the right one. SK walks up, goes for the transformation, but lands into a heap of damage already from not only the Hunter, but the mid laner. Taiko Drums baited out early from Mando. And now, most of the offense, or I should say the defense left for SK Peso's team has already been removed. Right side Phoenix gone. Team CaptainTwig will scout through the jungle and grab whatever farm is left before resetting.
2 birds down. Team SK Peso on the back foot. Have to just sit in the Titan room and consider ways to come back in this game. It's not going to be easy. It's consistent picks as well. I mean, you have such a big power spike if SDF is able to upgrade that Pridwin, or upgrade the Pridwin and, of course, the starter item, that Sigil, but gets caught out trying to get some farm before the siege begins. You'd assume left lane is the target, but no. Team CaptainTwig, they go to where the kills are. They find that pick, and then a 4v5 is not something that Team SK Peso wants to go for, so they continue farming elsewhere. They still have damage, they still have ways back into the game, but with 2 Phoenixes down, J-Mac, they're kind of stuck. You gotta let one more Fire Giant go down. You don't want to care about EFG, but can you stick around? And Drunk Diplomat is just getting owned here. Aegis down. Do you send the ultimate? I think so.
Yeah, fires every single beam. Didn't even probably need the damage from all 4 of them to connect. Just takes down Drunk Diplomat. 50 seconds until this Chernobog is back up on the map. Tier 2 tower eliminated. And once again, Team SK Peso on a 4v5 defense. This time, though, having both the Kuzenbo and the Fafnir is good until SK Peso takes a bit of damage. Transforms early in the fight. If you're Team CaptainTwig, you could probably just sit here and wait a little while. Let this Dragon transformation play out. At this stage, I think you're only sitting at about 40 seconds on how long you can stay transformed for SK Peso. Yeah, they'll go ahead, take out the mid Phoenix. Fire Giant's back up. Let that Dragon transformation get wasted. Reset, go for objective.
I mean, you have so much time, and that's the thing. Team SK Peso cannot go for a 5v5 defense. It's a pick after a pick. Team CaptainTwig in the right place at the right time consistently. And look at this, it's a bait. They're not going for Fire Giant. They're sticking around. They saw the Team SK Peso was on the way, and they decide to retreat towards Fire Giant. But because it's not left Phoenix, Team SK Peso is able to clear waves and at least stay close by. But with Seihost having I'm a Monster available, a steal doesn't seem likely. If anything, it's a fight. And Fire Giant, it's already so low.
Fire Giant down to 10%. That one's going to Team CaptainTwig.
Now you got to get out.
And SK Peso in the squad on full retreat. That Shuriken just off the mark from connecting to the support. SDF, though, ooh.
Oh, big miss.
Sikkim off the mark by Seihost, and that may have just saved Super Death Thing's life for the time being. Walk in, slows from CaptainTwig off that Frostbound. Gonna make it difficult for SDF to get back to base, but is able to do so. Some backup from Mando helps to keep him alive. Team CaptainTwig all 5 with Fire Giant. Only 1 Phoenix left to drop, and it's the bird over on left side.
SDF has Blink. Finally, a 5v5 Team SK Peso can take. They have all ultimates except for the Dragon. That's coming up soon. And all relics available except for Sejos Blink on the opposite side. They've got time. They can play this one slow. Remember, fire minions are going to pour in from right and mid. If Team CaptainTwig is smart, which they are, they'll just wait a bit. Give it time. You got Sunprod over in mid. He's clearing waves. He can't blink in. Dharmic Pillars could start us off. CaptainTwig has Dazzling Offensive. Might as well walk in slow.
SDF throws out the Kappa. Gone already.
That's good damage.
CaptainTwig, half HP. But being an Ama, having a Fire Giant, plenty of time to resustain. Will take a little longer.
Good
No
damage
fear.
again.
Mando just going to keep poking out the enemy. Throw out that Raiju. Throw out that Percussive Storm. Get that chip damage out on the ones that it matters. Dharmic Pillars already used. SK Peso transforming.
That was really good.
Immediately has to back out. Sitting at a 3rd HP. Doesn't have much health left to play with. Now just Drunk Diplomat or Super Deathfang. Both of the tanks sitting at around 30-40% HP. You can only reset one at a time because this Phoenix is going down quickly. Fluffy Cloud Pillow can tap it from the edge of the line. Doesn't even have to get in range of it to keep chipping away. And with one more minion wave in, CaptainTwig goes right to the back line. Dazzling offensive, defensively this time, just to scare back the members of Team SK Peso and reset. But look at this, right side, minions starting to pour through. Is it enough damage on the bird? Have they got there just in time? It appears to be so. One more minion standing tall, but no, the bird does go down. The last archer shot does the damage. The Team CaptainTwig can still stand their ground. SDF poke back to half. And Team SK Peso's got to reset.
I mean, Team CaptainTwig, the only reason they stick around here is if they want to go for an end. Unless they're sticking around for the mid-bird, which would take quite some time. Plenty of clear on the side of Team SK Peso. They had such a good defense as well. Mando got so much value from Raiju. He's essentially free casting for the majority of that fight, but was not able to back up safely from Twig's ultimate. Wasted the beads, and now looks like mid-bird is the target. 1 to 2 picks, and Team CaptainTwig pours into the Titan room. They want to go for an end call, and without a Dragon transformation, SK Peso is a hammer and a cloud of dust. Not a lot of damage that this Fafnir can provide, and they want to go for an end call?
Dharmic Pillar used. The Titan is just fine. SDF zoning away with the Watery Grave. Snipes in the sky, not enough. Drunk Diplomat goes up himself, but should just cancel and chum back down into the fountain. Couple of low health bars on both sides. SK Peso, Fluffy Cloud Pillow. It's not gonna be enough. Team CaptainTwig, a tough loss in game 1. Bring it back for 2 in a row to go to LAN.
Man, and they were still down in kills in the end, but the farming ever present there for Team CaptainTwig. Not to mention that it was the grouping. I mean, they stayed consistent with each other, 5-manned around the map, found the picks in order to just break apart Team SK Peso's teamwork. And despite the fact that they may have been able to win a team fight, we never saw it. They didn't get to 5v5. They were always one down. Oh, it's a 4v5, let's give up Fire Giant. Oh, it's a 4v5, let's give up Pyro, let's give up Gold. By the time it was a 5v5, you're down 2 Phoenixes. Hard to come back from that.
I mean, this is such a good start for Team SK Peso. They get a first blood. They don't lose anybody after that. They're able to get some pressure onto CaptainTwig on the opposite side, who had been dominating that solo lane for the first 7-8 minutes of that game. Finally get some help there. SDF is able to kind of catch himself back up. But when it came to fighting around these objectives, you just didn't get to see that same level from SK Peso. Maybe some questionable Dragon transformations as well. Both those last 2 times on Phoenix Sieges, pops it preemptively, just jumps up, says, hey, cool, Dragon transform time, it's time to defend. And you immediately see Team CaptainTwig adapt that, saying, okay, well, if you're just going to ult the second we step up to Phoenix, we'll just let you transform and we'll move on to another bird.
But what's the alternative? Ult in the face of Sejos and take half your HP and root the guy next to you? Like, I don't know if there was an option. It was just a rough matchup to play Fafnir into. It's a pick that works very well around the objectives, but when the enemy team's getting the objectives, you're ulting for defense. So I think it was a nice adaptation, and if CaptainTwig's team did push into the Dragon, then you have opportunity to defend. But because they're like, oh, there's a timer on that, let's just wait this one out, you lose a little bit of value there. But again, there was just a lot that was going well for Team CaptainTwig, and I think once they were able to split up the map and get that mid-bird for free, it was just so easy to play the rest of the map. They didn't have to ever fight a 5v5 if they didn't want to.
Looked a little dicey for Sejos at moments throughout the game, but the Blink Bead still ends up working out for him. 6-2-1 on the mid lane carry. able to stay alive just long enough, pump out just enough damage against Team SK Peso. Even with the 7-3 start for Sun Prod here in game number 3, not enough to help bring the team back. Jump Diplomat as well on the Chernobog. Early game looked very strong. Late game just felt like we couldn't get that same level of impact that the ROM was able to. When Elder's able to jump into the sky and start a team fight by throwing 3 snipes into the backliners, it's just so hard to fight back in. And I think at that final left side, Phoenix Siege was about the best that we were getting damage-wise out of Mando on those defenses. Throws out that Raiju, throws out the Percussive Storm combo. It's hitting 2-3 people. But the amount of damage that SK Peso squad was taking in return for that. Both of the tanks down 30% HP. Drunk Diplomat having to back off. Their Phoenix Siege is not quite there for Team SK Peso.
Yep, it was a well-fought game. I think could have went either way. But once the split-up started happening, it didn't look like teamwork definitely won the day. And Team CaptainTwig was the better cohesive unit. They were staying as a squad consistently. They knew where to find picks. They knew when someone overstayed. And that's the kind of things you have to capitalize on. And those are the kind of little mistakes that add into losing your first Fire Giant, losing a Phoenix, losing 2 Phoenixes, and then just having no way to go for a unified 5v5 underneath Bird. It just doesn't happen.
Well, it has been an action-packed weekend. 4 sets, 12 games total. And we have your 3 teams who are going to the LAN. We started this one off with Team Caustic versus SK Peso, 2-1 for Caustic in that set. And then we had Team Rudy versus Team CaptainTwig. That was a 2-1 for Team Rudy. Both those teams guaranteed their spot at the LAN. And then Team Rudy today guaranteed their first seed amongst those two with a 2-1 victory over Team Caustic. And then in our final set of today that we've just now concluded, Team CaptainTwig, your third and final team of the North American groups to go to LAN. Remember, they'll be met by iDavy, the representative from EMEA, to round out your 4 teams for our LAN that will be happening in just a few weeks here at the studios in Alpharetta. Congratulations to all 3 of the teams who have qualified this weekend for North America.
Yep, and they put on some banger sets for you. Like J-Max said, every set went the distance. There was no 2-0s, which means we had some competitive games, and this one was no different.
Now, imagine we'll have a very competitive LAN when that one rolls around, but that's all that we have this weekend for the NASCCC. Thank you so much for everybody who tuned in. On behalf of myself, Charlie, other casters in production behind the scenes, thank you for watching, and we'll see you later.
Made in Georgia.